Information for you, where we bring you the very latest appeals and information from An Garda Síochána first here on the 9 till noon show. That and so much more besides. Plenty to talk about, but we want your issues as well. Maybe you've got a topic that you wish to raise or just a comment you want to share. 086 60 25,000. That's your WhatsApp and text number. That's going to be used for the competition a little later on as well, so lots going on. You can give us a call at any time on 07491 25,000, or if you want to email, it's comments@highlandradio.com. And that means also if you're listening to the podcast, as many of you do, or if you're listening overnight, feel free to engage in the show via the email address or the WhatsApp address, and then we can pick up your comments and include you in the live show, and then you can hear it again when you're listening on repeat. And also, if it suits you and you want to, you can watch the programme. Maybe you're at home and you want to watch on your smart TV, your Fire Stick. At 1,750 of you were watching our election coverage on YouTube alone over the count over the Saturday and the Sunday. So many of you have that ability and that facility, so feel free to do so if it suits you. Or take us with you on Facebook, Highland Hub, Highland Radio News, Sport and Obituaries, and on the X platform. Let's see what's making the analogue press today. Let's go to the newspapers. And of course, plenty of speculation about the formation of the next government, though pretty much a fait accompli. It's Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and another. But the Independent tells us the battle lines between Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael have been drawn as formal talks on government formation begin today. Fianna Fáil will push for investment in public services, while Fine Gael will emphasise economic stability as well as tax cuts. The Civil War parties are also expected to clash on the VAT rate and Fianna Fáil's plan for a new Department of Home Affairs, with Fine Gael pushing for a Department of Infrastructure to be set up. It comes as sources within both parties have privately urged the Labour Party to make up its mind on whether it wants to enter government. Labour leader Ivana Bakic is to meet Fianna Fáil leader Micheál Martin and Fine Gael chief Simon Harris later this week, but these meetings are understood to be informal. The Labour Party is undecided on whether it should enter official coalition talks after its TDs and senators yesterday. Sections of the party believe it should not enter negotiations at all, with its youth wing, Labour Youth, saying in a statement last week it would oppose any effort to enter talks. The party is under pressure to make up its mind as formal negotiations begin today. Entering talks at a later stage may put a risk that the party is what the party is able to secure in a programme for government. But I mean, if you were a Labour supporter, and maybe you are, should they, I wonder, enter government? I mean, what is the function of a party if it's not to go in and share power? Is it a case of holding on until it's the biggest party in the country? Is that likely to ever happen? I don't know. I'm curious as to what Labour Party supporters think. Why would you delay? There's no doubt if you go in as the smaller party, you become a term that's often used, you become the mud guards of the bigger parties. We've often seen it throughout the years. Reasonably sized parties go into government and then post-election face a complete wipeout. But why in politics at all? Is it not to go in and govern? The Irish Times this morning: unchecked growth in Irish data centres is undermining Ireland's ability to meet crucial 2030 climate targets and is leading to increased fossil fuel consumption, a new study warns. Data centres, currently experiencing a boom under artificial intelligence growth, are driving additional greenhouse emissions from both electricity and natural gas consumption, and also threatening legally binding carbon budgets, the report adds. Effectively what this is saying is, I think, I'm not being speaking out of turn here, is that in terms of the damage to the environment through electricity consumption, it's not us really doing it. It's the data centres are effectively eating up all of the green generated electricity. The independent research produced for Friends of Earth Ireland was conducted by energy analyst Professor Hannah Daly of UCC. The Irish Fiscal Advisory Council has warned failure to meet emissions reduction targets in the government climate plan and in carbon budgets that set carbon polluting limits on all sectors of the economy could lead to European Union compliance fines of 20 billion in 2030. Without data centres, Ireland's electricity demand would have been relatively stable, the report says. Instead, demand between 2012 and 2022 grew by almost a quarter, the second fastest rate in the EU. Between 2017 and 2023, All additional wind energy generation in Ireland was absorbed by data centres. So that's the amount of electricity those data centres are consuming. Now, of course, there's a strong local interest in the ongoing investigation into the murder of Brian Thompson, and a man has been arrested in relation to that crime. A suspect in the murder of a healthcare boss in New York was arrested yesterday as he ate in McDonald's. Luigi Mangione, 26, was recognised by an employee from CCTV images widely circulated by the police. He was taken in for questioning after armed officers swooped on the fast food restaurant in Altoona, Pennsylvania, some 300 miles away from where the shooting of United Healthcare boss Brian Thompson took place outside a hotel in Manhattan. Mr. Thompson was shot dead on Wednesday ahead of a conference. In one image released by police, the suspect appeared to be smiling before the attack. When he was detained, Mangione, that's not how his name is pronounced. It will come to me. My apologies. Not to him, but just for not getting it correct. Was reportedly carrying a 3D printed gun, similar to that used in the attack, along with a silencer, a manifesto outlining his disdain for the healthcare system and for fake IDs. He was also wearing clothes matching the description of the suspect. He was dubbed the Hot Assassin online after pictures of him emerged yesterday, and has been arrested on firearms charges. He appeared in court last night, and he seemed a little bit nervous, as you can imagine. It was quite interesting. He was also found with $8,000 on him, and he claimed that wasn't his money, that was planted on him. And it was also claimed that he had a bag that would stop his mobile phone being tracked, but he said that was just a waterproof bag. Other than that, he didn't really speak. And it seems that he was under his parents' health insurance, and he suffered a bad back and got a big bill for that, became upset with insurance providers and carried out his actions. But it's interesting to see, particularly on the X platform, and that's an anything goes platform now, to be honest with you. I actually just go on it now, not to source any information on news as such, but just to see how far down rabbit holes some people come. And he's a hero there. He's a hero in that space, and people are saying it's conspiracy and it wasn't him and he's being framed, and that he is a hero. That's literally the conversation that's happening in that space. And maybe some of you out there are of that view. But he took the life of somebody else, it seems, allegedly. And he's going to have to face those consequences. The Irish Daily Star today tells us that the mother of a criminal who died in a head-on crash while travelling the wrong way down the road has sued the state and the Garda Commissioner in the High Court. You'll remember this case. The three lads were in a BMW that was going the wrong way up a road. It was involved in a crash, and it was very high profile at the time. Brenda Taylor, is seeking damages for alleged personal injuries and distress arising out of the death of her son, Graham Taylor. The 31-year-old was a passenger in a BMW 3 Series being driven by Carl Freeman, 26, on the N7 in West Dublin. Dean Maguire was the third man in the vehicle, which burst into flames after crashing into an oncoming truck late on July 7th, 2021. An inquest into Freeman's death heard the occupants had to be identified using DNA samples taken from relatives. The truck driver was left with serious but non-life-threatening injuries, and the three deceased men, all with addresses in Tallaght, South Dublin, had a litany of previous convictions. Now, Miss Taylor has sued the Garda Commissioner, the Minister for Justice, the Minister for Public Expenditure and Reform, Ireland, and the Attorney General. Her case is also against a number of non-state parties, including a solicitor representing the estate of Freeman and a woman alleged to be the owner of the BMW 3 Series. She's also sued the Motor Insurance Bureau of Ireland, which is funded out of the insurance policies of every motorist to compensate victims of uninsured or untraced drivers. Yesterday, Barrister Fred Gilligan for the Garda Commissioner and other state parties said his clients cannot file a defence to Miss Taylor's proceedings for some time due to certain matters beyond their control. However, there will be a full defence delivered in time. This was referenced in the news there by Donald, but I had already identified it as something I'd read out, and no harm reiterating. It's in the Sun. Buying local is the best way to save the Irish main street from oblivion, it's been warned. Business leaders claim the COVID pandemic sped up the move to online shopping by 10 years and left traditional shops on their knees. ISME, are begging shoppers to buy local, where they say every €1 spent can be worth up to €4 in your community. And I do a hybrid sort of situation, some online and mostly local, because that's where our young people are employed. That's where we go to when there's a draw on and we want something sponsored. No harm to Amazon. They're not putting up prizes for the local raffle to raise funds for someone who needs them. So if we can spend local, perhaps we should. But some of us, unfortunately, are going to be forced to spend beyond our limits. And this is in the Irish Daily Mirror. A fifth of people believe they'll get into debt to pay for Christmas, with many borrowing over €600. That is partly because consumers expect to spend around 14% more on average this year on Christmas than they did a year ago. People will splurge €1,177, up from €1,030 last year, and 3 in 5 consumers will dip into their savings to cover their spending. Figures from the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission also show that 20% of people will get into debt because of their Christmas spending. Now, is it that time of year? And that we're prepared to make these sacrifices and we're prepared to sort of pay down on this stuff into the new year? Or have we lost the run of ourselves in terms of what we buy each other and so on, if you know what I mean? Like maybe are we living beyond our means, or is this what Christmas is all about? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or call 07491 25,000. Interesting text here. Hi Greg, I was travelling on Saturday from Ballybofey to Donegal Town and came across roadworks with the speed van parked beside it. There was no 60-kilometre sign on the Ballybofey side as it was blown over. I was doing under 80k, which is my speed limit. Can I be done? I went through my dash cam, which shows no sign. I don't believe, and I don't want to mislead you, but I'm throwing this out there for listeners who would know. I don't believe that these speed vans are calibrated to take account of temporary speed reductions. I could be wrong in relation to that. But you've got your dash cam, you've got proof there was no sign showing the reduction. But wait and see, you'll know in the next day or two. Those fines come very quickly. My feeling is that generally speaking, the speed vans don't calibrate for, unless there has been an official bylaw to change the speed limit. But I don't want to mislead you. That's why I'm throwing it out to our listeners who know much more about this than I. Now, just before the break, I want to give you a reminder of our fantastic competition running all this week. It's in association with McGee's Chemist. They've got their store in Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie. We've got, at the end of the week, a hamper worth over €500 to give away. And it is courtesy of McGee's Chemist. It contains lots of stuff, including a blank canvas 12-piece makeup brush set from the Gold Collection, a selection of Lancome products, a blank canvas duo cracker makeup set, a bottle of Boss Femme, Eau de Parfum spray, a Be Perfect amplified makeup palette, or 20-page hand-backed photo book. It's all in there. It is all in there. Yesterday, Mary Sharkey won a 30-milliliter Marc Jacobs new perfume Daisy Wild EDP spray. And today, we're giving away 50 milliliters of Chanel Blue EDT spray. It's designed for men. And we have a simple question for you. How many ghosts show up in Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol? How many ghosts show up in Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol? Is it A, 2 or B, 4? How many ghosts show up in Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol? A, 2, B, 4. Text your answer, your name and where you're from to 086 60 25,000. WhatsApp or text to that number. And you could be the winner today of that beautiful 50 milliliter Chanel Blue EDT spray. And you'd also be in the draw for that €500 plus voucher. It's free for you to enter, particularly if you use WhatsApp. There might be a text charge on the text machine, if you know what I mean. But anyway, get involved now and you could be the lucky winner. All right, we'll be back with our first guest shortly.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Think outside the box with your photos this Christmas for canvas prints, Instablocks, mugs and photo books at mcgees.ie. McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
At Londis, we wish our customers in Donegal a very happy Christmas. We know what locals want because we are local like you, even as local as Lough Swilly on a beautiful crisp winter's day. Happy Christmas from Londis.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybo.com. Start every day with confidence.
Christmas has arrived at Patterson's. Christmas trees and decorations now on display. Christmas gifts, from Hollywood mirrors to wall art to home fragrances, you'll find the perfect gift at Patterson's. There's a large range of dining tables and chairs, sofas, mattresses and bedroom furniture in stock and ready for Christmas delivery. Open Monday to Saturday 9am till 5:30pm with free local delivery. Patterson's the Hall Lifford for everything you need this Christmas.
Attention golfers. Swing your way into Christmas with McGurk's Golf. We've got all the best brands under one roof like TaylorMade, Under Armour, Callaway, Titleist and more. Find the perfect gift for the golfer in your life at McGurk's Golf, Unit 16, 40 Retail Park, Letterkenny. McGurk's Golf. Best brands, best value.
TFI Christmas, that means thank Festive it's Christmas with Transport for Ireland. Because if you're heading out to go shopping, celebrating or seeing Santa himself, public transport is a great way to get there, with more services than ever before throughout the festive season. Remember, you can use your TFI Leap card for lower fares, and the TFI Live app lets you plan every journey. So thank Festive it's there, and think TFI for all your festive journeys this year. For Christmas service information, visit transportforireland.ie.
Thinking about upgrading your car? Pre-order your brand new Kia now at iMotors. We're offering one lucky customer a chance to win €10,000 when they pre-order with iMotors. Avail of 0% finance and a free home charger on selected vehicles. Grab a €500 super value voucher and 7 years warranty. Visit iMotors today and upgrade your car.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
It is 22 minutes past 9. You're welcome back to the show. Interesting story coming out of New Zealand overnight. The New Zealand government has announced that greyhound racing will end in their country in 2026. Racing Minister Winston Peters delivered the news today, declaring that legislation will be passed with urgency to bring about the cessation to greyhound racing. The announcement comes following what has been a harrowing period for the sport's participants and officials who, as a collective force, have been working to ensure the industry's survival. In response to the news, Greyhound Racing New Zealand chairman Sean Hannon said the decision was a devastating blow to the industry, which has invested significantly in reforms. He went on to say, "We're extremely disappointed that the government has not recognised the work the industry has done to address areas of concern to the extent that it now leads the wider racing industry with its commitment to animal welfare." Hannon said that over recent years, GRNZ has implemented stringent regulations governing breeding, rehoming and euthanasia, aiming to exceed the standards set by New Zealand's animal welfare legislation. It's just quite interesting. I mean, obviously, millions of euro are pumped into greyhound racing in this country on an annual basis. And of course, there was that investigation, was an RTE did an investigation into the greyhound industry, and no such calls or moves to ban it here, but in New Zealand they've taken very swift action there, and it's come as a surprise, and they've not left an awful amount of time either for it to be wound down. Deputy Marion Harkin joins us on the show now. Good morning, Marion. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Greg, to you and your listeners.
Yeah, it's good to have you on the show. Right.
Thank you.
The Mercosur deal is back in the headlines once again. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because there are countries in Europe that have different types of industries to ours and very big economies that are very keen to see this over the line. And there are countries then like Ireland who could be very severely damaged by such a deal. I suppose for those who may not be aware, who haven't heard about it for a while, what is the Mercosur deal in simple terms?
Well, Mercosur represents a number of South American countries, Brazil, Bolivia, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, and they've come together in a trade bloc, and it's called Mercosur. They have other members, associate members, but they're the main players, and they want to do a trade deal with the EU, with the European Union. And this deal has been hanging around for quite a long time. Back in 2010, I strongly opposed the deal at the time. I was an MEP, and that campaign lasted for quite a length of time, and it was led by the IFA. And it was successful in stopping the proposed trade deal at the time, because the IFA went out there, they looked at the conditions of where the animals were reared, and the requirements that were on those who were rearing the animals, compared it to what was happening in the EU, the requirements on farmers. And because it came up really short, then we were able to present that information to the Agriculture Committee, and that certainly helped to turn the tide. However, the deal is still on the table, and this week the European Commission have signed off on the deal. Now, it's a preliminary sign-off, it's an agreement in principle. We still have a way to go with this, and there's a lot of work to be done
in
the
relation
meantime.
to that, Marion, in relation to that, look, the fact that we've got great traceability in Europe from the farm to the plate, the fact that, swathes of forestry have been removed in Brazil to graze these animals effectively, and the impact it might have on economies like ours with lower quality beef flooding the market, all of those issues perhaps aren't the issues that will determine whether or not this will be passed or not. Am I correct in saying so? Because we've got huge economies like Germany, struggling economies that will do very well in terms of exporting to these countries. So what will determine this in the end?
In the end, what will determine this is a vote in the European Parliament and a vote by the Prime Ministers, whoever they are, from each of the individual countries. We are also pushing to ensure that each Parliament has a vote on this, just like the Canadian trade deal, because that then allows each member state to have a final say on this. It at least allows their Parliament to have. And you're quite right. I mean, for anyone to say Mercosur is a bad deal, that's just glossing over the detail. For some countries, this is quite a good deal. For Ireland, for beef-producing countries, for France, for Poland, it's not a good deal. And that's why the French, the Poles, the Dutch, the Austrians, and the Irish are against this deal. Now, what I'm interested in is the fact that during the debate, the leaders' debate before the election, we very clearly heard both Micheál Martin and Simon Harris say that they would not ratify, or they would object to Mercosur in its current form. And yet, last night, I think I heard the current Minister for Agriculture, Charlie McConlogue, say, well, we have to look at the detail, we have to see the detail. Now, it can't be both ways. I mean, we obviously have to look at the fine print, and that's crucial, but we know the direction this deal has gone in, and it's not good enough really for the leaders of the main political parties to say one thing before an election, and for the Minister for Agriculture to put a slightly different slant. I'm not saying it is different, but the slant seemed a little bit different to me. I mean, we know the nuts and bolts of what's here. We might know the fine print, and that is important, and I don't dismiss that. But we know where it's going, and where it's going is the guts of 100,000 tonnes of low tariff or tariff-free beef coming into the EU, some of it high-quality beef, and that will be a real problem for Irish farmers. I mean,
okay, but
we've
just
lost
in terms,
nearly a quarter of them.
Yeah, we don't have a veto on this, I take it. So is the bloc opposed to this deal large enough to see it off?
It's very tight at the moment. We probably need another major country like Italy. And I do think that the Irish government have a significant role to play here, to speak to our Italian counterparts to try and bring them on board. I mean, the Poles are quite a big country. The French are very big. The Dutch, like ourselves, are a small country. The Austrians are smallish too. But when you put it all together, you need a blocking minority. But we need to renegotiate parts of this deal. I mean, there are parts of this deal that there are companies in Ireland will benefit from. So it's the part around the access for either tariff-free beef entering the EU market or low tariff. And you quite rightly said it yourself at the beginning. This this beef is produced under totally different circumstances to what's here. I mean, just go back a couple of months ago. We had this same European Commission telling Irish farmers that we need to re-wet and restore hundreds of thousands of hectares to help benefit biodiversity and contribute, to mitigating climate change impacts. And we have that same commission saying, well, hey, in a trade deal, it'd be okay to import beef from a country, Brazil, that is cutting down some of its rainforests just to produce this beef. We know this is happening. It's not happening just today and yesterday. It's been happening for the last 10 years. So we have to have some kind of coherence in policy. We can't have one policy in 1 month and a couple of months later do a U-turn when it suits certain countries. So there's a big issue here for Europe, a really big issue.
Like an Irish farm, as far as I understand, one animal gets TB and the whole herd can be banjaxed. Are the same types of stringent rules in place in the likes of Brazil? Who's to say? Okay, well, Deputy Marion Harkin, thanks for your time. Take care. That's Deputy Marion Harkin there, who has her concerns over the Mercosur deal. And it's potentially big. It really is potentially big for Irish farmers if it were adapted in its current form. It's just a case of whether enough countries around Europe share those concerns and are prepared to have that deal either blocked or adjusted. I just get the feeling it's coming one way or other.
Chanel, Flowerbomb, Lancôme, Giorgio Armani, Paco Rabanne. Where else but at McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny, this Christmas. Sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
There's something about this time of year that makes you want to be near all the things that remind you of your favourite Christmas. When you get that warm and fuzzy feeling, you want to be near the people you love and the things you love. So where better to get that Christmas feeling than Letterkenny Shopping Centre. There's free parking, extended opening hours and great gifts for everyone on your list. Add in a visit to Santa, you'll have Christmas all wrapped up. Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Christmas just around the corner.
At Hidden Hearing right now, get up to €2,000 off state-of-the-art hearing aids, even if you don't qualify for PRSI. Visit hiddenhearing.ie today. T's and C's apply.
Donegal Texel sheep breeders are holding a sale of 54 in-lamb ewes and 15 ewe lambs in Rafo Livestock Mart this Friday, 13th of December at 7 p.m. Online bidding via the Mart Bids app. That's this Friday at Rafo Mart.
The big clothing sale is now on at Homeland Letterkenny. This Friday and Saturday only in store. Save 10% off Snickers and 10% off mascot workwear. Save 20% off regatta and expert clothing. The ideal Christmas gift. Exclusively at Homeland Letterkenny. Middle Road, Ballyrain this weekend.
Ho, 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 ho. Santa Claus speaking.
It's me, Santa, your trusty elf. I've got an urgent message from Cooney's Christmas shop.
Oh, my golly goodness. What's happening at Cooney's?
Well, Santa, they've gone all out this year. Their Christmas decor is bigger and better than ever.
Visit Cooney's Christmas shop, Letterkenny Retail Park, and feel the magic of Christmas. Santa approved.
Looking for the perfect spot to celebrate Christmas lunch? Join us at the ESIS Centre, Air Code F93 F104 for a festive Christmas lunch. Celebrate the season in our special surroundings. A delicious 3-course Christmas lunch plus tea and coffee, serving on Thursday and Friday the 12th and 13th. Bring family, friends, colleagues and the holiday spirit. Book your table today on 07493 848866. That's the ESIS Centre for your Christmas lunch.
Ensure the safety of your team with SafeTech. We have part-funded courses in first aid, people moving and handling, confined spaces, food hygiene, quad bikes, fire warden, IPAF MUPS, electrofusion, welding and machinery cards for Ireland and UK sites. Also delivering online courses like utilities, water hygiene and construction supervisors. SafeTech can deliver group training at your business premises. To find out more, contact safetech.ie today.
So just in relation to the commentary on the Mercosur deal, it was reported during the election that the government will oppose the new Mercosur trade deal between the EU and South American countries because of the threat to Irish farming interests, setting up a conflict with Brussels from the outset of Ursula von der Leyen's second term at the helm of the European Commission. Both the Taoiseach and Taoiseach Simon Harris vowed to oppose the deal in its then form during the election campaign, with formal talks on a new coalition led by Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael set to begin next week. This is an older article. So let me see where. Right, so that's what they said. And then Charlie McConalogue was quoted yesterday. Minister for Agriculture, Food and Marine Charlie McConalogue has said the Irish government will scrutinise the Mercosur trade deal very closely before it decides on what stance to take. So is that a change in position? So at one stage, you've got the government, Micheál Martin, saying it can't be accepted in its current form. Minister for Agriculture, Charlie McConalogue, saying that the government will scrutinise the deal very closely before it decides what stance to take. So I don't know, maybe that's the same thing in different words, or it is a change of stance. I don't know. Right, the Road Safety Authority is looking to follow in the footsteps of British authorities with the introduction of a new penalty points alternative. Speed awareness courses were introduced across the UK in 2006 in a bid to re-educate drivers on the consequences of speeding. Now, the RSA is reportedly seeking to implement a similar scheme in Ireland. So this would be a system whereby rather than actually getting points, you could go ahead and do this speed awareness course. What do you think about that? I'm going to be speaking now to Susan Gray of the Road Safety Group Park. But I'm just curious as what you, the listener, thinks. I mean, is this going down a different route whereby we're giving people an alternative to what arguably is the biggest disincentive to speed, or perhaps it's better to educate with a carrot than it is a stick? Well, let's see what Susan Gray of Park thinks. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks for asking me on today.
No, it's good to have you on. It's a funny one because we're talking about an alternative to actually giving people points.
Yeah, and as we said in the RT News last night, watering down the system. That's what they're doing. As you say, it's going down, to us, this is going down a very dangerous route. They're planning, the RSA, Sam Wade, the CEO of our Road Safety Authority, latest plan is to water down the penalty point system by literally telling speeding drivers that if they simply attend a speeding awareness course next year, they can avoid 3 penalty points for speeding when they're caught and €160 fine. It's not the way, in our opinion, it's not the way to go, Greg. Yes, the awareness course, it's a good idea. Educate them and see maybe it might change their driving behaviour. But never ever let it replace the penalty point system, because the penalty point system was introduced in 2022. And on the RSA website and the government website, it says the aim of the penalty points is to improve driving behaviour in Ireland and reduce the levels of death and serious injuries on our roads. So are they saying now that that's not working?
Well, we can determine ourselves, Susan, that arguably it's not working. Imagine this, though. You get 1,000 drivers, 2,000 drivers who are sat down, and I'm sure it's not as simple as just simply going to a speed awareness course, but they attend, they're sat down, they're educated about the consequences of speeding. Is it not worth trying that? Because, I mean, to get that message out to those that are already found to have been speeding, is it not worth trying that? And the reason they might do it is to avoid the penalty points, because, as I say, you could make a strong argument that what we're doing at the moment isn't working.
Yeah, Greg. As I said, we welcome this awareness course. What we don't welcome is any proposal that it's going to replace the penalty points. The message is going to be sent out that if you attend this course, and we have no details of this course at the moment from the RSA. It's a proposal from the RSA, and they're hoping maybe the government will take it on board. The course is a good idea, Greg. Yes, anything that might deter drivers and educate them on what happens when they speed is good. But do not let them get away with the penalty points. Penalty points, fine, and an awareness course. The three should go in hand together. Let's see if the awareness course, try it. Let's see if it works. The government and RSA would need to monitor them. We're very bad in this country at monitoring things, Greg. A lot of times laws come in, they give themselves a clap on the back and say, aren't we great, we've brought this in. But we never hear afterwards if it's working. We don't get any. We've asked in the past for other courses, how they're working, how many changed their driving behaviour, how many were back in court on speeding offences after doing the course. That sort of information's never put out there, Greg. So if they're going to do it properly, monitor it, publish the findings, and let's see if it works.
We have heard good things coming from driver behavioural courses that people are sent to after a court appearance. You know, that we have some of those initiatives here in County Donegal, and anecdotally the information coming back is quite positive. Is the alternative to penalty points not once? I don't think drivers should be able to constantly go to speed awareness courses. You know, you should get one bite at the apple. Surely it'd be better just to park the three results to encourage people to take these speed awareness courses, and then it would be very easy to determine, Susan, if they ended up getting points again, that it was effective, or if they don't get points again, that was effective. But if they do get penalty points again in big numbers, you know, it wouldn't be hard to track this. Surely it's worth trying, giving drivers one bite of the cherry, encourage them on the speed awareness courses by allowing them to escape the points once, and then see what happens after that.
No, Greg, because what about the cohort of drivers that the speeding awareness course may not have an impact on? What message is that sent out to them? Would it result in them being more lackadaisical in the road, speeding, continuing to speed, and maybe causing serious injury or death to somebody? That's a risk too high to take, Greg.
I would agree with you, and I don't disagree with you, but we're just for the course of the conversation, if you know what I mean, Susan. I don't think in and of itself 3 points and a €160 fine is changing people's behaviours, you see. I think people think, well, I've got 12 points before I'm off the road, or, you know what I mean, 160 quid, I can afford that. It depends on each individual person. Like, if the penalty points was such a severe punishment that it did change people's behaviour, the people that we're talking of, I would probably go, yeah, you're right. I'm just wondering if the people that we are talking about, the serial speeders, if they got into one of these awareness courses, it might have far greater an impact than 3 points, which I think they wouldn't worry about anyway. Some people use penalty points as some sort of a badge of honour.
No, I disagree with you, Greg. Penalty points is a known deterrent. If they are working properly, go back to basics. This is what we keep asking the government to do. Go back to basics. Look at the penalty point system we have since 2002. Delve into why it is not working. Fix them problems. Other people are saying increase the penalty points, double the penalty points. People are not listening to the penalty point system as it is. It should be working. It's a great system if it's enforced properly. But as you know, Greg, I've been on your programme many times, highlighting the parliamentary questions we get raised for us on penalty point system and how it's not working. We have a system whereby people are getting caught speeding. They're not getting their unique driver number recorded so that transport can actually apply the penalty points to the licence of that particular driver. That system is broken many times. It is in the process of being fixed. We're delighted. But it's not coming to next year.
Yeah.
We have a system where when they're disqualified, and you're saying 12 penalty points and should be off the road, learners and novice drivers, 7 penalty points and should be off the road. Last year alone, nearly 2,000 were taken to court and put off the road. But guess what? They did not surrender their licence or their permit to the Road Safety Authority.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The whole system has to be looked at, Greg, but the penalty point system, if they did it right, wow, it could be a mind change. It could be a real change in driver attitude.
One of the things, Susan, just before I let you go, I'm not sure if you're aware, Google, which is a huge company, of course, they have introduced a new system through Google Maps where if it's connected to your car, and more people now have it connected to the car, where there's a button on the screen that's always there on the maps where you click the button and you can notify other drivers of temporary speed traps, be it your Go Safe vans or cameras or what have you. And my understanding is it's been widely used now to try and avoid being caught for speeding. What's your views on Google being involved in that type of activity in 2024? Is it something you welcome because it might slow people down in dangerous spots, or would it be something that you would frown upon?
I'm going to go off the mark here, but Greg, there's something I wanted to bring up in your programme, and this is a good opportunity. We need more Garda members in the roads policing units. Last June, Helen McIntyre, Minister for Justice, told us we had 622, down by over 400, right? She publishes figures, Greg, she assured us, every month on our website. We noticed an error in the February and March figures, because what we do, we download the data and we do a breakdown per county, and we send it to the media and they advertise what counties with the least members of roads policing units, which are valuable units, unique. Couldn't praise them enough for the work they do. Now, in June was the last month that Helen McIntyre has published figures for the number of Gardai assigned to roads policing units in each county. We asked for figures for July, August, September, October and November. The latest reply that Deputy Leo Varadkar asked PQs for us, the latest reply he got back last month was June figures is the last figures she has got from Garda Síochána. That worries us, Greg, because if there were 622 in June, how many has it gone down by now? The Garda Commissioner promised in May that he was going to assign another 75 members. It may not sound many, but we need everyone we can get.
All right, well.
He was going to assign 75 additional members to roads policing units, the northern region, western and southern region, because they've already tackled Dublin region. He was going to assign them before the end of this year.
Yeah.
The competition started. The training's going through. We would love if the likes of Highland would find out where this is at. Are we going to have at least another 75 this year? He promised that this year, and he said there'd be another 75.
Well, we'll see. We can make our inquiries. All right. Thank you for that, Susan.
Yeah.
Interesting points as always. Susan Gray, chairperson of Park.
Hugo Boss, Victor and Rolf, Dior, Marc Jacobs and Carolina Herrera. Where else but at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, where you'll find the biggest names in perfume and aftershave this Christmas. Sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
Bridgend Bureau de Change is now open at Rafferty's Circle K Station, Bridgend. For all your euros, sterling and dollars, contact Bridgend Bureau de Change at Circle K Bridgend. Planning cross-border shopping this Christmas? Call into Circle K Bridgend Bureau de Change for all your currency needs. Authorised and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Christmas table linen is all half price. That's right, half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price Christmas table linen is gone, it's gone. Also, all barware accessories, Cassia Living giftware and Christmas tree lights are still all half price. But when all the half price barware accessories, Cassia Living giftware and Christmas tree lights are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
For Christmas, a sweater from Columbia, a North Face t-shirt or a waterproof Helly Hansen jacket. See all these and many more great present ideas at Call of the Wild in Letterkenny. Great clothing and equipment from top names including Patagonia, Low Alpine, Oakley and Kathmandu. Everything from walking boots to water bottles. And if you're not sure, there's always a gift card at Call of the Wild, Main Street, Letterkenny, just opposite McGee's. See callofthewild.ie.
Homeowners, are you ready to cut your energy bills? Solar panels are a smart way to cut costs and power your home with clean, renewable energy. Switch to solar with efficient renewables and start saving. Right now, we're offering a free panel for every solar system ordered before the 20th of December. With the SEAI grant reducing in January and with 0% VAT, there's no better time to make maximum savings. Contact Efficient Renewables today on 074 970 8320 for a free quote for your home and start saving today.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
Okay, let's have a look at that weather forecast now. And frost will gradually clear this morning, but fog may linger in some areas. Dry with sunny spells where the fog clears. Cold with highest temperatures of 2 to 5 degrees in light to moderate north to northeast or variable winds. And I think that's going to be the weather for the rest of the week. It's going to be pretty calm. A caller says the speed awareness course in the UK is optional instead of points. The price is slightly more expensive than the fine, which can't be avoided. Penalty points, again, were 20 years behind the UK with the awareness courses. The UK has one of the best road safety records in the world, apparently. I didn't know that, okay. Some people get points for very little. Yes, if someone is breaking the speed by a massive amount or they reckless driving or very reckless driving, give them points and ban them. The problem is if you start that lenient, say it becomes common knowledge that there's a 10% or 15% leeway, well, then that all of a sudden becomes the new speed limit. That's just simply what would happen. That's how we would change our behaviour. I'm not saying you're right or wrong, but that probably is part of the problem. Where do they expect to get people qualified enough to give these courses when they cannot get enough staff to do NCT and driving tests? Well, they're different disciplines, but I take your point. A caller says, I always try to buy local. I don't like using online shops and I hate paying for something and not already having it in my hands. Indeed, there's a good ad I've seen on TV recently. I think it's Curry's or one of the big electrical retailers where people go into the shops. They're used to buying online and they go into the shops and start messing around, trying to swipe and all that kind of stuff. It's a very clever ad, actually. Good morning, Greg. Could you give a big shout out to the ESB crews that got the power going in Carrick, Trent all day yesterday and last night until almost 8 p.m. What a brilliant crew they were. They sure do earn their money. Thanks, Greg. No problem. It is my pleasure. Credit where it is due. And it is due there. Many people are saying on social media that United Health are refusing 32 of the health insurance claims. 32%, is it? Of the health insurance claims. And many people suffer as a result. How many people working for them in Donegal are complicit in this suffering? Well, I mean, any insurance company really, their job is to limit the liability of the company and their shareholders. This is not new news. But I've struggled to have that conversation in the same space where someone's shot to death in a street in New York, a family person with children, and a company that does employ many, many people here. Are we getting to that point now whereby we can sort of almost justify actions like that? I really do hope not. Back to the Mercosur deal. Well, that's a shock. Politicians saying something to get elected and then going back on their word. France and Poland are opposed to Mercosur and Ireland must join them to save farming and fishing in Ireland. Another caller says on that topic, farmers and fishermen have no one to blame for losing their livelihoods because of Mercosur if they voted for the government parties who are supporting von der Leyen. That being said, we don't actually fully know what the government's position is at this stage because according to Minister Charlie McConalogue yesterday, they're looking at the detail before deciding their stance on it. Hi, Greg. Should Ireland, like other European countries, stop Syrian asylum seekers? Will the Syrian refugee who came to Ireland now return to their own country? Possibly. Many of the Syrians that left are men, and because of men are more likely to be dragged into a war or to be imprisoned or what have you. And many of them are expressing a wish to go back to Syria when it is more settled there. And older generations of people in Syria are saying, look, we cannot rebuild this country on our own. We need our young men, primarily our young men, back to do that for us. So I imagine a large proportion will. We have paused. We're not stopping asylum seekers, and no European country is. What they're doing, as far as I'm aware, is they're actually pausing decisions on whether or not they're allowed into the country. That's where they're at. So they are pausing it to determine whether it's a safe country and refuse them access to Ireland or other European countries. But I think Helen McEntee made that confirmation earlier today, if I'm not mistaken. Road traffic offences were never treated seriously, and it's still the same. People that are off the road still drive and get away with it. Indeed, that seems to be a common occurrence because so many people don't give their licence into the court when they're obliged to. So there is obviously knowledge that you can get away with it. Quite sure the government will oppose the Mercosur deal in public and hope the Italians support the deal, says the listener there. I don't know what's the advantage for the Irish government in backing it. Back to the roads again. All you see is cameras sitting in wee villages and not on the main roads where they need to be. I'm sick of commenting it, and no, you must be sick of reading it, Greg. It comes up from time to time. I'm not sick of doing anything associated with the show. I know where you're coming from, but we still have to keep talking about these things. And there is a frustration about the location of some of these speed traps, and the argument is that they are located where a fatality or serious collision has happened. But others believe they're put in places to effectively shoot fish in a barrel. Just time for a quick mention of our competition. It's free to enter on 08660 25,000 WhatsApp or text bar, maybe a text message. And it's our €500 plus hamper, thanks to our friends at McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny and, of course, at McGee's.ie. There's loads of stuff in it. Blank canvas 12-piece makeup brush set from the Gold Collection, a selection of Lancome products, blank canvas duo cracker makeup set, 20-page hardback photo book, and so much more besides. Today, we're giving away a 50ml Chanel Blue EDT spray, and all you have to do to be in with a chance to win today's prize and go into the draw for Friday is answer this question. How many ghosts show up in Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol? Is it 2 or 4? Text your answer, your name and where you're from to 08660 25,000. It is the 9 till noon show. Coming up after 10, we'll have the latest instalment of Community Garda Information. Stay where you are.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, with all your perfume and aftershave presents this Christmas delivered to your door, or order online and collect in store. Visit mcgees.ie.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybo.com. Start every day with confidence.
At DoorTech Garage Door Systems in Kilmacrennan, we specialise in the supply and installation of all types of industrial roller doors and garage doors. Whether for your home, business or farm, our doors offer the security you need. For premium quality doors, call DoorTech on 91 or visit doortech.ie.
This Christmas, let a little magic into your kitchen with a Ninja air fryer. Whether it's crispy roast potatoes, perfectly cooked meats or golden roast veg, Ninja helps you whip up your festive favourites with ease. Save time, save space, and make Christmas dinner stress-free. Find your range of Ninja air fryers now at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, and the shopping centre, Dunlow. Ben Sweeney Euronics, helping make your Christmas cooking merry and bright.
Are you worried about trees on your property? Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet are fully insured and have over 40 years experience in dangerous tree removal, tree felling, surgery and stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybuffet for a no obligation quotation on 9132033.
Making the move away from diesel? Don't get confused. Get excited at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Experience the power of choice. From our unrivaled hybrid range with no plugging in, to plug-in hybrids and the fully electric BZ4X, we have the right car for you. With incredible offers, including power-up boosters of up to €2,500, make the move at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota. built for a better world. T's and C's apply.
Workwear, thermals and high-vis at Borderland Muff. Waterproof clothing, footwear and skiwear at Borderland Muff. For fashion, jeans, winter clothes and fleeces, Borderland Muff. Stocking Columbia, Apache, Snickers and many more. Open 7 days. Borderland Muff.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Donegal County Council still hasn't passed its budget for 2025. Yesterday's resumed meeting broke up without agreement after 3 hours. The meeting was started and immediately adjourned to allow for a series of discussions behind closed doors involving members and officials. The meeting will reconvene on Thursday. Donna Marie Doherty was in Lifford.
It's understood the proposed 4.74% increase in commercial rates is the sticking point in the discussions. The deadline for passing a budget is midnight on this day week, Tuesday, December 17th. If a local authority fails to pass its budget by that deadline, the Minister for Housing and Local Government can remove the councillors from office and appoint a commissioner to take over their duties. Donegal County Council Cathaoirleach Councillor Niamh Kennedy doesn't believe it will come to that.
Obviously there's a lot of work to do, and there has been meetings with the executive and the group leaders and all of the councillors over the weekend. There are a number of issues that we still have problems with, so we're trying to work those through. I think we will see white smoke, but it'll be probably next Thursday that we'll hopefully be able to pass the budget then.
When's the deadline for getting the budget through?
The deadline is midnight on the 17th of December, so we should be fine.
Questions are being asked after offers for social housing in Letterkenny were withdrawn last week. It's understood over 35 homes at Harmony Hill, Kiltoy, under the auspices of the Clwyd-approved Housing Association, were offered to people on Donegal County Council's housing list. However, after an issue developed in talks between Clwyd and the council, those offers were withdrawn. The two bodies are to meet in the coming days, with members promised an update after that. Councillor Jerry McMonigal says they need answers and a swift resolution. People are being urged to shop local this Christmas. ISME, which represents small businesses, says it's important that people support the traders in their local towns and villages. It says if everyone can divert even some of what they'll spend this Christmas to local bricks and mortar businesses, it'll help sustain jobs and keep their local area alive. ISME's Neil MacDonald says for every €1 spent locally, it can generate up to €4 in the community.
The multiplier effect is variable, of course. If you go into a local store and you buy something that's imported, there is a chunk of money leaving the state. However, if you buy it on a locally produced good, or if you purchase a meal, or if you stay in a hotel, the multiplier effect is that much larger because you're spending your money locally and domestically.
A 26-year-old man has been charged with the murder of the CEO of Optum's parent company in New York last week. United Healthcare boss Brian Thompson, a frequent visitor to the company's Letterkenny facility, was shot dead while attending a conference in Manhattan on Wednesday. The suspect was detained in Pennsylvania following a tip-off from a McDonald's employee. The Stormont Assembly votes later today on whether or not to continue with the revised post-Brexit deal, the Windsor Framework. It means there are controls and checks on goods crossing the Irish Sea. Unionists say it threatens Northern Ireland's place in the UK. Sinn Féin's Philip McGuigan has been outlining why he supports the deal.
The protocol offers the people in the north who wanted to remain in the EU protections against the worst excesses of Brexit. Brexit is bad. We said that at the time. Thankfully, the EU wanted to protect the Good Friday Agreement and the All-Ireland nature of the economy here, and that's what we have in its place, and it's very important that that remains the case.
Research from UCC, which was commissioned by Friends of the Earth, shows the growth of data centres is incompatible with Ireland's climate commitments. The electricity demand from centres has grown at an annual rate of 23% since 2015, compared to 0.41% for other sectors. And Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael will begin formal discussions later today on the formation of a new government. The process of engagement will be dealt with first by the deputy leaders of each party. That will be followed by negotiating teams engaging on specific policy issues. Fionn Sheehan is Ireland editor with the Irish Independent. He says while there are many areas of agreement between the current coalition parties, there are also plenty of policy differences.
So there is a lot set in train that they clearly agree on, so they can whittle that down. There are then issues in the party manifestos where they are at odds. the VAT rate. Fine Gael want to cut it for businesses. Fianna Fáil don't. They're saying this will drive up bills for consumers. Fine Gael are effectively proposing a mini budget there. Then Fine Gael want a Department of Infrastructure. Fianna Fáil want a Department of Home Affairs.
Dry with sunny spells where the fog clears today. Cold though, with top temperatures of 2 to 5 degrees Celsius in light to moderate north to northeast or variable winds. Tonight it'll be dry and calm with a widespread sharp frost and icy stretches. Areas of fog and lowest temperatures of -3 to 0 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow it will stay dry but generally quite dull, with overnight mist and fog stubborn to clear in some areas. It'll be cold on Wednesday, with highest temperatures of 1 to 4 degrees Celsius in a light northeast breeze. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11. Check all of the day's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Tuesday morning, the 10th of December. The death has occurred of Jacqueline Hannigan, née Ryan, Corgery, Ballabafay, reposing at her late residence from 7 o'clock this evening. Funeral from there on Thursday morning at 10:15 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Sesha O'Neill, followed by interment in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish YouTube channel. The house is strictly private, to family only, please. The death has occurred of Rose Kelly, née Connolly, Loch McCrory, Oxtown, Omagh. Her remains are reposing at her daughter Roisin Coyle's residence at 40 Coolmore Gardens, Brookmount Road, Omagh. Removal from there tomorrow morning for 10 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Killyclougher, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of Patrick Gillespie, Tullyarvin Buncrana. Remains reposing at his residence, leaving there tomorrow morning at 10:15 to St Mary's Church, Cockhill for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial in the adjoining cemetery. The Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. House private, please, from 11 o'clock tonight. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu to Ardeven Carndunna, care of any family member, or Porter Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Eddie McDade, Glebe, Clonmany. His remains are reposing at his home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 11, going to St Mary's Church, Clonmany, for Requiem Mass at 11:30, with burial afterwards in the new cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member, or Comiskey Funeral Directors. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The funeral mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Eugene Dodger Gamble, Castlefin. Funeral from his home on Thursday morning at 11:25 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Castlefin at 12 noon, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Mary Maxwell, née Mullen, 1 The Crescent, Clady, formerly of Church Street, Strabane, reposing at her home from 12 noon tomorrow. Funeral from there on Friday morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass in the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane at 11, followed by interment in St Columba's Cemetery, Dunnyloop. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Brian Kelly, 6 Bells Court, Clady, reposing at his home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 11:30 for Requiem Mass in St Columba's Church, Dunnyloop at 12 noon, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 9 o'clock tonight. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. And the death has taken place of Anna McDade, née McGarvey, 33 Beechwood Road, Letterkenny, reposing in St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny. Funeral Mass this morning at 11, followed by burial in Kilmacrannan Cemetery. The Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland. know all about total football. Fast, fluid, connected, game-changing. Now the LiveScore Bet app brings you the total betting experience. It's everything you love about LiveScore. Scores and stats play beautifully alongside odds, offers, and a slick bet builder. Or switch your play with a choice of sports and games. Everything in one place. Less app hopping, more action. LiveScore Bet. Total betting.
Bet responsibly. 18+ gamblingcare.ie.
Now, Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh will be joining us very shortly with the latest appeals and information from An Garda Síochána. But just a couple of comments coming in so far this morning. A caller says, I'm with Leia Health Insurance for the past 30 years. I'm 76 years of age and I've always gotten my scans done with Ophidia in Letterkenny. I've now been told that Leia are no longer working with Ophidia in Letterkenny. You have to pay if you want to use the Ophidia service in Letterkenny. We are not being reimbursed if we have to travel to Dublin. I pay €3,500 for myself and my husband for the year. And we have another caller who wanted to come on with us a little later on with the same issue. Here's a statement now from Leia Healthcare in relation to this, and it reads as follows. Leia Healthcare regularly reviews our benefits, services and partners to ensure we're negotiating the best value and healthcare access on behalf of our 705,000 members. As a result of a recent review of our direct settlement arrangements, our members will continue to be covered on a direct settlement basis for a wide range of diagnostic imaging scans, including MRI, CT and DEXA, in a network of over 25 diagnostic imaging centres across Ireland. John McCall, Executive Director of Claims and Provider Relations at Leia Healthcare, says, we're delighted to partner with Allianz Medical for our members' diagnostics imaging needs. Our members continue to access as many scan centres as before, with faster access to scans and results in just 2 days. That's a market-leading offering, they say, and we're delighted to provide that for our members. Our members can also access urgent care services nationwide, including their own network of Leia Health and Wellbeing clinics where members can be seen in 60 minutes for minor injuries. Members can still access Ophidia centres for urgent care and diagnostics, but not on a direct settlement basis from the 20th of the 10th, 24. This means they'll have to pay upfront, then claim back in accordance with their scheme and level of cover. Members based in and around Letterkenny can access routine MRI scans on a direct settlement basis in Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest and Allianz Medical in Sligo. Members are encouraged to check their cover through their personal and secure member area. Now, I don't really have a great knowledge of private healthcare because I don't have it, but what it seems to be saying that they no longer pay in advance for scans at Ophidia, and you can get your scans done at Ophidia and then claim the money back, it would seem. But you can go to Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest and Allianz Medical in Sligo, where it'll be the same system as it was before with Ophidia. So that is potentially an inconvenience. I'll rely on you guys out there to let me know what that means to you. Let me know. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. That's clearly disruptive for one of our listeners. How big an impact will it have on others? I'll leave that to one side because, as I say, we probably are coming back to that a little later on. Back to some other comments here. Well, I can tell you speed cameras at the Lag Road in Malin, and can anyone tell me when was there ever a road collision on the Lag Road? If they were on Malin Road out of Carn, where you're not safe to drive with the speed cars are driving on that road, it might be different, I think they're saying. My daughter's doing research on microwave meals and has told me that we are much better off putting the food onto a plate and then putting it in the microwave to stop plastic particles entering the food. I don't microwave in plastic at all. It's always on the plate for me, to be honest with you. People are urged to shop local, but it is far cheaper to shop in well-known retailers such as Aldi, Tesco, Lidl or Dunnes. The reason that people don't shop locally is that people are priced out of it. The price of fire lighters could be €5 in one shop and $2.90 in other. Well, you shop around and obviously you go where the fire lighters are cheap, bro. But Aldi's local, Tesco's local, Lidl or Dunnes are local companies. They're companies based in our areas that are employing our people and are good supports to the local economy. And they also source some of their products locally. So that is local. I think maybe what you're referring to is the smaller, potentially convenience stores. We use those. but it's more day-to-day stuff, I think, and then you go to the bigger places to shop. Others do it in a different way. But shopping local is Aldi, Tesco, Lidl or Dunnes. They are local companies. Okay, their HQs might be outside Ireland, but they support local communities, they employ local people, and that is local shopping, for the purpose of that last conversation there, by the way. Now, just a quick reminder before the break that we are on to draw to €1,000 going to be given away later today on Jive Time with David James. We already gave £1,000 yesterday away on this show. It's all leading up to the big giveaway of a Toyota Yaris Cross Luna worth over €30,000. But as I say, a further £9,000 to be given away in increments of, or in £1,000 at a time over the course of the next 9 days. If you want to be in all of the 10 draws left, you can still get a ticket, by the way, no issue there whatsoever. Go on to our website, highlandradio.com, or you can give us a call here at the radio station and we'll sort you out, 07491 25,000, or indeed you can call up to the station if you want to deal in cash. But that is our next €1,000 being given away on Jive Time with David James a little later on today. So if you want to be in the next 10 draws, 9 for 1,000 and 1 for a 30,000 plus car, you can still get your tickets now. Give us a call, 07491 25,000. Go on the website, highlandradio.com. Or as I say, if it suits you better, you can call up to the radio station here and we'll sort you out that way.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday the 10th of December. You're playing for the daily prize of €400 on the brown sheet. The reference number is S7. It's game number 50. The numbers are 16, 46, 24, 53, 54, 33, 87, 3, 29, and finally 10. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
I am the storm that pounds for hours, for days on one side of your head. I am your migraine. Light blinds. Sound pierces. You can't escape my nausea. If you've lived with me for years, talking to your doctor may help. Learn more at migraineaware.ie, brought to you by Pfizer Healthcare Ireland.
Donegal Texel sheep breeders are holding a sale of 54 in-lamb ewes and 15 ewe lambs in Rafo Livestock Mart this Friday, 13th of December at 7 p.m. Online bidding via the Mart Bids app. That's this Friday at Rafo Mart.
Don't miss the best late-night Christmas entertainment at Pulse Venue Letterkenny. This Saturday night, December 14th, the David Craig Band takes to the stage. Saturday, December 21st, it's the legendary Whistling Donkeys. On St. Stephen's night, don't miss the Paul Kelly Band. Pay at the door each night and enjoy the season's biggest lineup at Pulse Venue Letterkenny.
Gift sets by celebrity, by budget, or from the classic collection at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For the perfect present every time, visit mcgees.ie, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
The Community Garda Information slot is brought to you by Sheridan Security Systems, protecting what you value most. Call today and get your zero-wire alarm system from €299. Sheridan Security, 91-26025.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. 18 minutes past 10 on this Tuesday, the 10th of December, and it's time for another edition of Community Garda Information. Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh is in studio with me. Ewan, thanks so much for your time.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Right, quite a bit to get through, so we'll get straight into the appeals. And Gardai seeking information in relation to an assault in Convoy.
Yes, Greg, this is an assault which occurred on Saturday morning, the 30th of November, last Saturday morning week. So sometime Friday night, Saturday morning.
Just go a little bit behind that mic. Sorry, Ewan.
Sorry.
I thought it would pick you up. That's my fault.
Okay. So the assault in Convoy last Saturday week, the 30th of November, at approximately 12:30 a.m. to 12:40 a.m. on the main street. A male youth was assaulted by another male, which we believe was unprovoked at the time. The injured male attended Letterkenny University Hospital, where he received treatment for non-life-threatening injuries, fortunately. And we're appealing for anybody who may have witnessed the incident or who has any information in relation to the matter to contact the Gardai at Letterkenny 07491 67100, or again, the confidential line 1800 666 111.
Now, a number of instances of criminal damage in all four corners of the county, effectively. We might start in Letterkenny, Ewan.
Yes, Greg, this is a criminal damage in a farm area in the townland of Letterleague in Letterkenny between December 1st and the 4th last week. A number of bales were slashed on the farmyard between those dates. So again, we're appealing for anybody who may have observed any suspicious activity or vehicles in the area over the course of those few days to make the contact with the Gardai at Letterkenny 07491 67100. And again, anybody who thinks they have any can assist with any relevant information, we're asking them to please get in touch with us.
Yeah, indeed. What a pain that must be. On to Dunlow this time now.
Yes, this is criminal damage, Greg, which occurred at the business premises on the Main Street area of Dunlow between 6 p.m. last Tuesday the 3rd and sometime Wednesday morning the 4th. So sometime Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning. A number of panes of glass at the front of the premises were smashed between those times. And again, if anybody has any relevant information, contact Milford Garda Station 074 9153060. And again, anybody who was in the area at the time and who has dash cam footage, we're asking them to make it available to Gardai, please.
Yeah, and up to Buncrana now.
Yes, this is an incident of criminal damage which occurred in the early hours of Saturday morning last during storm
Dara,
yes. Approximately 3:15 a.m. in the early hours of Saturday morning, the 7th of December, a bottle was thrown out a window of a property and the window was broken. Again, as we said, the storm was in progress at the time, so there may not have been many people out and about. So if anybody was out and observed anything, to contact the Gardai in Buncrana. Anybody who was on foot at the time we're looking for 07493 20540. And again, anybody that was in the area at the dash cam footage at that time, 3:15 a.m. in the Marion Park area of Buncrana last Saturday morning, the 7th of December.
Maybe potential for more witnesses in relation to the next incident in Donegal Town.
Yes, this is criminal damage, Mr. Greg, at a property on Key Street, Donegal Town, Sunday morning last, Saturday night, Sunday morning, the 8th of December, between 1 a.m. and 1:10 a.m. A window of the front of the property was smashed by a rock between those times. And again, we're appealing for any road users who have dash cam and who may have travelled into the area around the time to make contact with Gardai in Ballyshannon 07198588530. It would have been particularly busy at the time, so we're confident somebody would have seen something suspicious.
And the common theme in all of those incidents, completely pointless.
Yes,
scary in some cases, needless, but incredibly disruptive.
Yes.
Just what's the point, Ewan? It would make you wonder, wouldn't it? Right, okay. Now, Donegal Water Bus.
Yes,
what happened down there?
This is and again, one very difficult to comprehend. In the early hours of Sunday morning, the 1st of December, so the weekend before last, the Saturday night, Sunday morning, between 1:15 a.m, a male person got on to the water bus, Greg, and he removed a lifebuoy. This male person exited the water bus with the lifebuoy. We have a good description of the male person, wearing a white, light-coloured shirt, navy body warmer, blue jeans and brown shoes. Brown hair and possibly aged in his late 20s, early 30s. Again, thankfully, the lifebuoy was discarded the following day, and is still fit for use. We are anxious to progress this investigation, obviously, and we appeal to anybody who may have travelled in the area of Key Street or within the car parks in the area at the time to contact Gardai at Ballyshannon. Again, 071985830. It's a fairly distinctive description there. Again, male person, late 20s, early 30s, wearing a white light coloured shirt, navy body warmer, blue jeans and brown shoes. Again, we're hoping that we might refresh somebody's memory with the description there.
Yeah, very distinctive indeed. Now, a theft being investigated in the Long Lane area.
Yes, it's occurred on Sunday evening, quite distinctive time there, 7:40 p.m, Sunday the 1st Sunday week. Car was parked outside the property at Cheshire Apartments and the key was left inside. And two male youths opened the door of the car, removed the key, locked the car and left the area with the key. So they left on foot and travelled up the Long Lane area of Letterkenny. Again, we have some description of them. One of the males was wearing a black hoodie and grey bottoms. He had his hood up at the time. The other youth wore grey bottoms and a blue or black coat. Again, had his hood up. So again, if anybody travelled in the area of Long Lane on Sunday the 1st of December between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. on the date and has dash cam, we ask them to make it available to us. Or anybody who was driving or on foot at the area and may have seen the two males in the area to contact us at Letterkenny.
Now, I'm not trivialising this in any way, shape or form, but this is somewhat unusual in that they opened the car, locked it and left, and the theft presumably is the key, which can be incredibly expensive depending on the car to recover.
I'm not aware if there's a spare key, but again...
but that's the
quite stressful for the owner of the car, knowing that somebody
sure.
has the key of their car. You know.
It's just it's a really unusual one, and then you don't know if your car's secure going forward. Right, a bit of a reappeal this time in relation to a car theft.
Yes, the appeal was done last week, Greg, and we're reissuing our appeal in relation to the theft of a black Ford Mondeo. The registration number is 6162C, C for Charlie, 6166, 162C, 6166. Stolen from the Letterkenny area on the 28th of November last, and the car has not yet been located. So it's quite distinctive car, colour, and particularly the registration plate. So should anybody have any information in relation to the current location of the car, or again, maybe people on their travels, keep the car number in your mind. It's quite distinctive, and we're asking people to contact us again. Letterkenny 07491 67 100.
Right, and good news, new colleagues coming to the county?
Yes, we're getting 4 new Gardai graduating on Friday in the Garda College, and we'll take up duty in Donegal from next Monday, I believe. 3 will be going to Letterkenny and 1 to Buncrana. So, as you know yourself, young new blood is always welcome. We wish them all the best and look forward to working them in their futures.
Brilliant. And is it still the case they're more likely to be from outside the area? Is that?
Well, actually, I looked the ones come to Letterkenny, and of course I would be supervising of a particular interest them. 2 are from Inishowen, and 1 is actually from Ballyshannon. So,
right, so they don't
we'll
have
no
to
bother.
travel
We'll have no bother with him.
No, but they don't have to travel too far.
No, they're not too bad.
Yeah,
you know,
okay, no
I would imagine they have maybe married with children or those circumstances. You know,
brilliant, great stuff. All right, okay. As you say, always good to see fresh blood, fresh ideas, and who's to say what their age demographics are now that the pool has been widened.
That's right, exactly.
Now.
Yes,
exactly.
yes. They're not all
spring chickens
anymore.
Okay.
No.
Yes. All right, thanks very much.
Thank you,
as
Greg.
always, Ewan.
Thanks a
Really
million.
do appreciate it. That's Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh there. He is, of course, attached to the Letterkenny Garda Station. That was Community Garda Information. You can listen back to it if you missed anything on our podcast. It's live on the website from 12:30. And, of course, it will be shared on the Highland News and Sport and Garda Síochána Facebook page a little later on for you to watch back.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with McGee's Chemist Main Street Letterkenny, offering a great range of digital cameras and binoculars for Christmas. McGee's, the photographic experts, where the best costs less.
Throbbing head, sore back, the aches and pains of cold and flu. No one pain is the same, but for all those everyday pains, there's a moment when you start to feel release. That moment when you start to get back to being you, and you feels amazing. Panadol Extra film-coated tablets, powerful pain relief. Release starts here. Contains paracetamol, always read the label, leaflet.
It's my family, my business. I don't need any help from you people. Keep asking all these questions. Mum and me are fine. I'm gonna leave her alone for 5 minutes. She freaks out. I just don't know how to help her. Note said she's not coming back. I've got no family, no friends. Came over yesterday. Things are kind of normal again thanks to you listening to me every week. I'm feeling better, you know.
Bernardo's changed many children's stories, but we can't without your support. Please donate today at bernardos.ie, because childhood lasts a lifetime.
Hey mate, how's all in Oz? No crack here, just it's 2:30 in the morning. An early night these days. Look, I'm not partying, I just can't sleep. Tomorrow will be fun.
Trouble sleeping, low mood, stress and feeling anxious can all be signs you should check in with your mental health. For support that can help, use the My Mental Health Plan tool at yourmentalhealth.ie from the HSE.
At Uisce Éireann, we're continuing to upgrade Ireland's water network to ensure a clean, safe and reliable water supply. When repair and maintenance work is required in your area, we want to make sure homes and businesses are informed. That's why we have a new free text alert service providing real-time updates for issues lasting more than 4 hours. Sign up with your mobile number and air code at water.ie. Uisce Éireann, delivering water services for Ireland.
There's Monster Bingo tonight and every Tuesday night at Mulroy Woods Hotel, Milford. €3,250 must go. Doors open at 7:30. Bingo starts at 8:30. That's Monster Bingo tonight at Mulroy Woods Hotel, Milford.
What's going on over there?
Guards all over the place. Ambulance.
And he was just dead.
Yeah, lying there.
Ballyglasane. New drama series every Wednesday night at 8 on Highland Radio.
Right, okay, so we mentioned earlier on it seems to be a change in the relationship with the healthcare provider Leia, the health insurance provider Leia, and Ophidia Centres, one which is in Letterkenny. Seemingly quite a number of our listeners were able to access Ophidia in Letterkenny for diagnostics and what have you. As I say, I don't know a ton about this, so I welcome Shannon onto the show, who's affected by this and will explain it to us. Shannon, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Hello, good morning, Greg.
Right, so when did you find out that things have changed? What was going on?
I only found out yesterday morning. Ophidia had contacted me about arranging an appointment. I was in the doctor's the previous week, I was told that I would need to get an MRI. So they asked me, did I have private health insurance, which I said I did. So they said, there's no problem. We'll send you a referral letter to Ophidia and they'll contact you. So I had a full conversation with Ophidia and I was actually pleasantly surprised how accommodating they were. I explained to them that I'm working full time and childcare and things like that are an issue and trying to get time off work. So they told me that they could accommodate me even up to 9 o'clock in the evening. So that was fine.
Brilliant. Yeah, sounds great, doesn't it?
Sounds great. Then they asked me what health insurance company I was with, and I says Leia, and it's changed completely. They says, oh, actually, Leia has cut ties with them, and it would be, instead of free, it would be €330, which
Wow.
I was absolutely shocked.
Right, so the alternative, so obviously it's either stump up the cash you're already paying for health insurance, of course, or go the public route. Did you talk to your GP about that option, and what did they say to you?
Well, initially when I said to the GP, because I go for a lot of appointments already in Dublin for various conditions, and I'm in the private sector, in the public sector, so I'm used to travelling up and down to Dublin as it is. But I was told, if I was to go publicly, I'd be waiting months for my scan. So I think that's a really unfair situation that, number one, the services is there, and obviously there seems to be plenty of availability. So just because you don't have health insurance, you're left waiting for months. But I thought with having the private health insurance that, at least I should get some benefit from it.
Now,
I told them.
Sorry, we got on to Leia, okay, and I don't know how if this is agreeable at all. They said they have changed their relationship with Ophidia Centres, so you still can go there for urgent care and diagnostics, but not on a direct settlement basis. So that means that you have to pay up your $330 in advance and then claim it back from Leia. I don't know what that experience is like.
No, I spoke to Leia myself because I told Ophidia to leave it with me. I would contact Leia. They have told me that I can go to their hospital in Dublin free of charge, or I can go to Sligo for free of charge. I can go to Leia in Letterkenny.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to pay for it, and in my policy, I'm covered for €200 for the entire year.
Ah, right. Okay.
So that's all I would get back.
There's the
But if I
devil in
had
the
to go
detail.
for an
Yeah, so you'd get
then
200.
if I had to go for an
go ahead.
for the
beg your
entire
pardon.
year.
Yeah. So you get 200
so
back. You
200
get
for the
200 back
entire
off
year.
one, and then that would be it. You'd be paying full whack. They also say, though, you can go to Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest. Is that Derry based or?
I can go to Ballykelly. They will pay 66%. So I'm still out money. But what it means now is that I have to try and take a day off work, which I'll lose a day's earnings. I'll have to pay for the travel costs. I'll have to try and get childcare organised. And what really annoys me is that Ophelia has told me it'd take about 15 minutes.
Wow.
So either way, if I travel to Sligo or Dublin, I'm basically out that money anyway by losing a day's pay.
Yeah, for sure. And then the diesel and the costs and all the hassle. You have to put a value on your time as well, Shannon.
Yeah.
I hate to go down this route again. I know it upsets some people, but you're paying the same for your private health insurance as other people in the country, but because you're from Donegal now, you can't access these services that others can.
Yes. So I would tell anybody from Donegal to look into other health companies, because I've already said to Leah that I'm on the brink of cancelling my policy if they're not accommodating people in the Northwest.
Well, you're lucky enough in that you've got close access to a hospital, you've got close access to a Fidia, and you've got health insurance, but you're being asked to travel at the least to Sligo for a scan, or else stump up the cash yourself.
Yeah. I just think it's completely unfair.
Right, okay. It does on the face of it seem very unfair.
Like I said, I have no issue travelling to Dublin, which I do multiple times, to see specialists, but I'm really angry that I have to travel that far for an MRI, which can be done either in Letterkenny Hospital or Ophelia.
And it was very interesting to get the info from you, and this is why it was important to chat to someone who knows what they're talking about, Shannon, in that the way that the press release is issued to us, it does give the impression, if you didn't know, that you can claim the entire MRI cost back, and you've quite clearly pointed that, according to your policy, the first 200, yes, but that is for the entire year.
Yeah.
Whereas up until now, you were able to access MRIs and other diagnostic services at Ophelia as part of your policy.
Yeah.
It's a significant change. It is a major, major change.
It seems to be a lot of, my parents also have health insurance, and anything they seem to go and do, it doesn't seem to cover them. And it just seems to be, whatever about my age, but when you're getting older and older, people having to travel further and further for services that are actually in your own county.
Yeah. I mean, as you say, the services are there. They're not lost. It's just the relationship between Leia. You think at the very least they could have made for their customers here an exception to whatever agreements they have, so that these services could be accessed somewhat locally. It's all right for you, but I mean, if you're in a show, and if you're in Malin, or if you're in Burton Port, it's a much longer drive to Sligo then. It's bad enough maybe having to go to Letterkenny, but it's a much longer drive then to Sligo or Dublin.
Yeah.
All right, okay. We'll see what others say. We'll get back on to Leia. Have you, at this point, I don't know, is it not easy? Can you switch between policies? Is it possible you could switch to another provider, get the same level of service, Shannon, and maybe still access diagnostics?
I have no idea. I've been with Leia for a long time, and I have developed conditions since I've been with them.
Yes.
So once I go to another insurance provider, more than likely I won't be covered for a lot of conditions now that I do have.
And another thing, Shannon, too, the people that are going to be maybe most angry about this are the people that probably use these services more. And if you're a health insurance provider and someone like yourself is saying, I'm taking my business elsewhere, and I'm one of their customers and I don't avail of any scans, are they going to fight to keep you either? That's the problem. You're kind of hamstrung, aren't you? Do you get where I'm coming from? And I don't mean that in any sense on you.
They probably at this stage want rid of me.
Yeah, that's kind of, you've put it far more bluntly than I chose to, Shannon. But you're someone drawing back on the insurance, and I just wonder, are they going to battle to keep you or to please you? Right, Shannon, leave it with us. We're going to seek further clarification from the company in relation to this, and we'll see what impact it's had on others. This came into effect towards the end of October, and I think people are only realising it. They're only noticing the change as they're being referred for MRIs and what have you.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are learning about this for the first time today. Shannon, thanks for your time. I wish you good health going forward, and happy Christmas to you. And as I say, we'll try and get some clarification on that. just to give another example, I'll read this text again. An older married couple, 76 years of age. She has always got her scans done on Ophidia. She's now been told that Leia will no longer work with Ophidia, and you have to pay if you want to use the Ophidia services. I'm sure this is not Ophidia's fault. This is just the relationship Leia has with them. We're not being reimbursed. We have to travel to Dublin. I think you can go to Sligo. But this caller's paying, and it's they're in their 70s, her and her husband, $3,500 a year. So it's already a big chunk of cash. It's already a big chunk of cash. And if you can't avail of these, services as part of your policy, what are you paying the $3,500 for? It might be maybe these people don't have a car, the couple I'm talking of. Maybe it doesn't suit them to go to Sligo or Dublin. It's a bit of a nightmare for them. A caller says, this is separate here. I've been waiting for 7 weeks for a bone density scan with VHI. I've now made a formal complaint. For bone density scans, there is nowhere else that you can get this type of scan. VHI need to also get themselves sorted in the Northwest. It's the first time I've claimed in years. Okay, so is there a shortage of services and an increased shortage of services for private health insurance customers in Donegal in the Northwest? We're starting to learn more information. By the way, just want to make you aware, we might do something more detailed on this. It's another scam, and I'm sorry, I don't want to be preachy, so don't be angry with me if you know all of this stuff. But there's a particularly nasty scam going around at the moment, okay? And it's to do with upgrades of mobile phones, and there's an element of it's quite clever, and you could get caught out really, really quickly. You get a random phone call from someone purporting to be from your phone company, and they will talk you through the process of upgrading your phone, obviously free and incentivized. At the same time, they input your telephone number into, say you're with Vodafone, right? They put your telephone number in Vodafone, and whilst they're speaking to you, they click forgot password. And in the course of that conversation, a text is sent to your phone. So whilst you're speaking to someone, you get a text, an official text from Vodafone or O2, whoever it might be, and the scam goes on from there. So please, if you're cold called looking for someone to offer you a free upgrade, and you get a text to your phone and it all seems legit, it's not legit. They're not ringing you up to offer you anything for free, and it is a scam. And as I say, they're exploiting the reset password option to make you think that they are they are not legitimately with that company. So I just wanted to mention that. We might do something a bit more detailed down the line, but I just wanted to get out there because it's a hot one at the moment. I got a call from my credit card people yesterday that unusual activity was taking place on my card. It was a genuine call. Always remind people, if you haven't been scammed, the right scam hasn't reached you. There's a speed van sits in the 50 kilometres per hour at the school in Carn on Saturdays and Sundays. Nothing about safety, but a handy money machine. Never a collision there, says a caller. Separately here, this is so typical of Ireland. The government departments can't think for themselves, always following the UK. What moron decided that sending Egypts on a course about the dangers of speeding is going to change their behaviour, and then letting them off the fine and penalty points? Fine should be tripled, penalty points stay, and the guilty party should attend a driving safety course in person. So a person there seemingly very much in agreement, or even perhaps going a little bit further than Susan Gray, who was on with us a little earlier on. All right, it is the 9 till noon show for this Tuesday. We're going to be back with our next guest on the show after these.
Fill your stocking this Christmas from all the great gift ideas at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show. See mcgees.ie or like McGee's on Facebook for a chance to win some great prizes.
Want highly reliable broadband for a great price? Get the 3 5G home broadband for just €20 a month for 12 months. Setup is easy. Simply plug in and go. Visit your local 3-store in Buncrana. Subject to coverage. Terms and conditions apply. Customer speed may vary. Ask in-store for details.
You can hope, touch wood, wave to that magpie. But sometimes, no matter how many umbrellas you refuse to open indoors, things happen. And if they happen, you should know what we do. We are the Injuries Resolution Board, the independent and impartial state body that resolves personal injury claims in Ireland. We use the exact same guidelines as the courts to calculate compensation, and on average, we resolve cases 2 years faster, saving time and money. Find out more at injuries.ie. And fingers crossed, you'll never need us.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Voodoo venue Letterkenny has you covered, with a late bar from Thursday through to Monday and great live entertainment. Every night at Voodoo is a party waiting to happen. Gather your crew and create unforgettable memories at Voodoo venue Letterkenny, where the weekend never ends.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybo.com. Start every day with confidence.
Aya, Cockhill Celtic and Carrandonna football clubs present their grand draw where someone will win €200,000 on New Year's Day. Tickets are €100 and the draw is limited to 8,000 tickets. To get a full list of prizes or purchase your ticket, go to www.200kfornewyearsday.com. Alternatively, contact a club member or call into a local shop.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Bally Buffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
Let's have a look at that weather forecast then. Frost clearing at this stage, but fog may linger. Dry with sunny spells where the fog clears. Cold with highest temperatures of 2 to 5 degrees in light to moderate north to northeast breezes. Now, as you would be aware if you followed the news at all, the former Prime Minister of Syria has agreed to hand over power to the Islamist rebel group HTS after it toppled Bashar al-Assad's regime. However, there is concern among the international community that change doesn't guarantee peace. HTS is currently a banned terror organisation in a number of countries. That being said, that is being reviewed as we speak, it would seem. We're joined on the programme now by Suad Al-Dira, who is a Syrian-Irish writer and engineer based in Dublin and author of the book I Don't Want to Talk About Home. Suad, a very good morning to you and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Greg. Good morning, and thanks for having me.
So what is your initial reaction to this news?
So the recent news has developed really quickly. At first, it was a scary development. We thought we're heading towards even darker era. But the last few days have been a huge win, and it's been done. The transition of power has been done in a way that we couldn't even imagine in our best scenarios. That this would happen. We were worried about extremists taking over, but we've been seeing a lot of assurance on the ground. There are no extremist slogans anywhere. The only slogan that seems to be everywhere now in Syria is that Syria is for all Syrians, all religions, all backgrounds. There is no revenge. No one is looking to destroy or kill or revenge, basically. Yes, even yesterday there was an official announcement guaranteeing and reassuring people about personal freedom, and that no one is to interfere with women or force any kind of dress code on women. So this is huge. This is
but
finally
just in relation to that, of course, this is in the early stages of the regime change, and HTS is just one of the many different factions that would have an interest in running Syria. We can look to part of Syria that they did have control over, and they did put in really quite stringent restrictions, did they not? And even in the case of women, would you not have a concern that if that's how they were operating for the last 5 years in the area of Syria that they controlled, that it's an inevitability that they will look to adopt the same policies across Syria as a whole?
I'm not sure about the that they have been doing that the last 5 years, that they were enforcing any dress code or the way things that were controlled, but this new power is definitely not the same. There has been changing. We are sure that somebody also is interfering, controlling it seems like a rebranding for this group, and so far it's looking good. We want to believe that it is a good change. We haven't seen anything to make us worry about like minorities in Syria being oppressed, that women would be oppressed. Everything looks optimistic.
Yeah, and optimistic is good too. You left a very different Syria that we see today in 2012, didn't you? Can you talk to us a little bit about that and your decision to leave at that point?
Sure. So I left Syria back in 2012. Syria went into war in 2011. So I left after 2 years of the war. It started with protests, then it escalated really quickly with weapons and turned into violence. Syria before the war was my favorite place in the world. I was in love with Syria. I never wanted to leave Syria, and that's what I wanted to write in my book about the Syria before war. And when the war happened, leaving was not an option for us. We wanted to stay. We thought this would be temporary and that we'll go through this together. There was bombing, there was arrests. It was scary, but then it kept escalating to a point where it wasn't safe to stay anymore. I'm from Damascus. Things escalated really quickly in Damascus, and because it's the capital, so the security was intense there. At the end of 2012, me and my husband took the decision to leave, and even on the day that we were trying to leave, there was a conflict at the airport, and it shut down, and we couldn't even take our flight. We had to go back, go through the borders to Lebanon, and then fly from there. So it was complicated and dangerous until the last minute we left Syria. And we never thought it will take that long. We kept thinking that this year it will be over. This year somebody will intervene, the international community, somebody will do something. But nothing happened, and it kept getting more and more complicated with other countries interfering with Syria. Until it finally happened. So yeah, suddenly going back is a possibility.
Yeah, I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. But there was a time, for some time, in fact, where you hid the fact that you were Syrian, a country that you were so proud of. So I can imagine that was quite the internal conflict. Why did you feel that you needed to hide your background?
So I always say that it wasn't out of shame. It was out of Syria at some point felt like a crime that I didn't commit, that I had to hide. There are a lot of stereotypes that got attached to Syrians, and also sometimes even with the best intentions, when I talk to someone and they know I'm from Syria, the conversation will definitely get complicated and people have a lot of questions, and sometimes I don't want to talk about home.
It makes perfect sense because it's about really collective responsibility, isn't it? And people believe that every Syrian is responsible for the actions of some. It's the same with, I would say now, there are Russian people who don't agree with what Vladimir Putin are doing, but they might say they're from Lithuania or something because it's the path of least resistance. So I really can understand that. Have you ever, in the intervening years, the 12 years, was it ever possible to return to Syria to visit family, or did you?
No, it was too dangerous to go back. We've always heard about people who just disappeared. As soon as they arrived to the airport, they would be taken away. And I'm sure everyone now has seen the prisons in Syria, the political prisons, where people were disappearing underground just because they said no, or they said any comments on the regime. And as a writer who wrote about Syria and wrote about the regime, even though I tried in my book not to be political, but I wanted it to be more humanitarian than political.
But you put a target on yourself, potentially.
But yeah, exactly. I put a target on myself. My husband as well, he's half Palestinian, and his father was shot dead during the war because he was trying to give bread to people in besieged areas. So there was also a target on him and his family. So we never knew that it was safe. We've seen some of our friends risking that, but we just couldn't. The risk was just too much. It was for nothing. So we
millions
decided
of people have had to leave or been displaced. Hundreds of thousands, at least 300,000 people have died, and many have died in the most horrible of circumstances. It's a very different country now that's going to take an awful long time to rebuild. And I did hear from an older lady in Syria saying, we need the young people to return to rebuild it. We can't do this ourselves. But that will take time. It will take time, will it not, to build trust with the new regime, to see how it plays out. There's lots of other people in that area, such as the Israelis, the Americans, that have an interest too in the direction of Syria. We've seen massive bombing campaigns from Israel in Damascus and other parts of Syria over the last couple of days. So it's far from a plain picture at this point, Suad. So at what point do you sort of look at and say when it's safe to even go back to see what Syria you have left to go and visit or return to?
Yeah. So I think Syria reached the bottom of the worst situation. So any direction now is only up. That's what we believe. We've seen the worst, and trusting the new regime is something. It's work in progress, but it's looking optimistic. As I said before, our issue now is with Israel bombing us. Like yesterday, it was the most violent day in Damascus for the last 15 years. Israel is very determined to destroy everything militarily related in Syria to protect their interests. So that's our worry. We hope no one interfere in Syria anymore. We want to rebuild it again. We have trust in the Syrians. I've been seeing solidarity that I've never seen before among Syrians from all backgrounds, which is so heartwarming to see after years of the regime trying to tell us that we are different, that there are minorities, that we're gonna kill each other. But no, that's not the scene on the ground at the moment. So it will take time. We are getting rid of an old cancer, and we need time to recover. But there is hope. There are already images and videos from people returning back, especially from neighboring countries, which is easier to go through the borders. The airport, there are news that the airport should be back in work, back and up and running in 2 weeks, maybe. So yeah. Things will be back.
It is quite remarkable. I think the best thing for Syria would be like a political system whereby, there will be elections in the next year, maybe 2 years. I just don't think replacing one very powerful person with another very powerful person. Unfortunately, human nature is such that power can corrupt. Yeah. So I think the more that contest elections and the more open and free they are, the better for Syria. And I can't believe the world is in a situation now whereby neighbouring countries that can just bomb, they just go in and bomb wherever they like, or the US for that matter, or any other countries, and it's not even frowned upon, seemingly, if you know what I mean, internationally. It just happens. It is so, it seems.
Happen, and no one's saying anything about it. Yes, unfortunately.
Remarkable stuff. Okay, well, Suad, I wish you and your country all the best into the future. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Take care. That's author Suad Al-Dira, who's a Syrian-Irish writer and an engineer based in Dublin.
Think outside the box with your photos this Christmas for canvas prints, Instablocks, mugs and photo books at mcgees.ie. McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
Please support the St. Vincent de Paul annual appeal. Donate today at svp.ie or call 0818 176 176. Thank you.
Donegal Texel sheep breeders are holding a sale of 54 in-lamb ewes and 15 ewe lambs in Rafo Livestock Mart this Friday, 13th of December at 7 p.m. Online bidding via the Mart Bids app. That's this Friday at Rafo Mart.
Millionaire Raffle from the National Lottery is back. There's 1 millionaire guaranteed and over €6.3 million in cash prizes to be won. The draw is on New Year's Eve and tickets are limited to 600,000. Have you got yours? The National Lottery. It could be you. Gift responsibly.
Hello, Anne Gildee here. It's your final chance to see my hit show, How to Get the Menopause and Enjoy It, in Playhouse Derry, Friday the 13th of December, and on Green and Letterkenny, Saturday the 14th.
The menopause is a very inclusive condition. You don't have to get it to suffer from it.
Tickets at derryplayhouse.co.uk and on greenon.com.
That's the sound of someone sleeping soundly on a Restex mattress. Choose from the Donegal range. A Teelan, a Kinnigo, or a Mulroy mattress. It'll change the way you sleep forever. Restex beds, mountaintop Letterkenny. Leave the rest to us.
Ready to transform your smile? Discover the magic of Blue Poppy Dental in Letterkenny and Donegal Town. With implantologists, surgical and cosmetic dentists, orthodontists and an endodontist all under one roof, we've got all your dental needs covered. Starting your journey is easy. Call us on 074 91 20355 or book your appointment online anytime through our user-friendly patient portal at bluepoppydental.com. Blue Poppy Dental and Orthodontics, where smiles shine brighter.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock, so that means it's time for a news update, and it's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Stormont politicians are expected to back the extension of the Windsor framework during a vote later. It comes despite opposition from unionists who believe it threatens Northern Ireland's place in the UK under the post-Brexit trading arrangements, which were designed to ensure no hardening of the Irish land border. Northern Ireland continues to follow many EU trade and customs rules. Gardai are investigating an alleged assault in the early hours of Saturday morning at Main Street in Convoy at around 24 minutes past midnight. A male youth was assaulted by another male in that area. Following the incident, the victim attended Letterkenny University Hospital for treatment for non-life-threatening injuries, which he sustained. Gardai are urging anyone who witnessed the incident or has dashcam footage to come forward. Donegal County Council still hasn't passed its 2025 budget after yesterday's resumed meeting broke up without agreement. After 3 hours, the meeting began and immediately adjourned to allow a series of discussions behind closed doors involving members and officials. They'll reconvene on Thursday afternoon. Midnight next Tuesday is the deadline for agreement. The Coherlock councillor Niamh Kennedy says she believes they will reach agreement on Thursday. Gardai are investigating the theft of a lifebuoy from the Donegal Bay water bus in the early hours of Sunday last. The lifebuoy was found discarded the following day in the nearby car park and is still fit for use. Gardai are trying to trace a man wearing a white light-coloured shirt, a navy body warmer, blue jeans and brown shoes. He had brown hair, was possibly aged in his late 20s and early 30s. And 4 additional Gardai are joining the Donegal division. A graduation ceremony is to take place at the Garda College in Tullamore on Friday. Of those graduating, 3 are being deployed in Letterkenny and 1 in Buncrana. Well, they're the headlines. Back with headlines again at 12 noon. Check all of the latest news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for the news stream, for the moment, good morning.
Thank you very much indeed, Donald. OK, we'll be back with more after this short break.
Not a creature was stirring, not even a... Merry Christmas!
How long to cook a £20 turkey?
Oh, God.
Cheers!
Not as cheating. Everyone, smile!
Sean, smile!
Join us at 3 and capture the chaos of Christmas with the super fast, super smart iPhone 16. Now €99 on 3 bill pay. Subject to bring your number to 3's Freedom 5G plan. Direct debit and 24-month minimum term required. Come in store, c3.ie.
Next year, we're going abroad.
All right, you're back. We are back on the 9 till Noon Show, and our next guest will be joining us very shortly. A caller says, was in Galway for an MRI last Tuesday. They rang me at noon on Friday and asked me if I was available on Sunday. The next spot then was Tuesday. Do they realise that people in Donegal have to travel, stay overnight, up to €150? Forgotten county we are, in my opinion, says that listener. Private medical insurance holders can switch provider at renewal. There will only be a waiting period if you upgrade to a higher cover with another insurer. So, but how does that work? Again, sorry, I'm asking questions like an idiot here. But I mean, are there like-for-like policies? So if I was switching from Leia to VHI, I'd get the same level of cover even if I had worsened health since I took my initial cover out. And is there always a like-for-like so I could switch and maintain my level of cover, if you get where I'm coming from? Best wishes to the TY Enterprise and Business students in the craft fair today at Loreto Community School. The public are welcome. It's running until 12:30, so get along to that if you wish. More than happy to give that a plug there. Right, final call for today on our competition. It's in association with McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny and, of course, at mcgees.ie. It's a €500 at least. It's worth over €500, in fact. Hamper to give away on Friday. It's got a Lancome Christmas hamper with a selection of Lancome products. Blank Canvas 12-piece makeup brush set from the Gold Collection. Blank Canvas Duo Cracker makeup gift set. There's a bottle of Boss Femme Eau de Parfum spray in there as well. Be Perfect Amplified Makeup Palette and 20-page hardback photo book. And there's a daily prize. So all you have to do is text in the answer to the following question. How many ghosts show up at Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol? Is it A2 or B4? Is it A2 or B4? Text your answer, your name and where you're from to 086 60 25,000. And you could also win today a 50ml Chanel Blue EDT spray. That's the daily prize. Then you go into the draw for the big one. A voucher, a hamper worth over €500. Helen Kennedy, Sports Centre Manager in ATU. Are you with me, Helen?
Hello, Greg.
Good to see the top of your head. How are you keeping?
There
we are now.
you?
And then she appeared. Good morning to you. Right, significant grant, almost $500,000 sports capital and equipment grant awarded to the ATU. Great news.
Yes, it's fantastic. The awards were announced there at the end of September, and we had a long, tough application to get this grant, and we were successful. And it's going towards the refurbishment of the existing gym in ATU Donegal.
Yeah, and it all has to be, doesn't it, state of the art and what have you. So it's a big, big chunk of money, but there's big outlay too as well.
Oh, there is, of course. It will go a long way in contributing to the enhancement of our gym. A long way indeed, and we're very, very grateful for that. The gym we have is a fine gym, but it's 20 years old now. It opened in 2004. And so it's very fitting that 20 years on, we're getting that nice sum to do the refurb. Because in those 20 years, our student numbers have increased by about 120%, a huge increase. So, but our sports facilities have not increased in line with that growth. So we're talking back in 2004, we had approximately 2,119 students, and now we have nearly 4,760 students. So it's about time, and as I say, we're very very delighted with the funding.
It's a remarkable growth, isn't it, when you think about it? Like, I was aware of it, but when you lay the figures out as such, it's a remarkable growth in attendance at ATU.
Yes, and now that we have university status since April 2022, we're perhaps a more attractive place now for students to come from, and that's worldwide, especially our European and Asian markets, where the student increase there has been huge, as well as, of course, the students on the island of Ireland as well.
Yeah, and what I'm particularly encouraged by is it can be difficult for students in Donegal if they had to travel for certain courses. I know for some they want the experience of being away from home, so to speak, right? But I think it's great for families, because we're seeing record numbers of students from poorer backgrounds going on to third level, which is fantastic. And I presume changes like the ATU status work in that regard. So how will this money be spent? It's part of an overall project then, is it, Helen?
Well, the money received is from the Sports Capital and Equipment Grant funding, which I should say now has a new name. It's called the Community Sports Facilities Fund going forward. But that money is specifically earmarked for the extension to the gym on campus. And the gym will, in essence, be doubled in size. Our gym at the moment is about the length of a swimming pool, but it's quite narrow. Really, if you have 25 people in there, it's jam-packed. But we're going to double that space onto an existing balcony. So it will become a fine, big Olympic-sized swimming pool size gym. And it's not only a gym. We will have new equipment, gym machines, etc. But we'll also have a studio space in there as well. which will be good for, fitness classes, for teaching spaces, for hangout spaces even. So it'll be, quite a big improvement.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the current structure has been there for quite some time now. So I'm positive that as part of this program too, you want to make it more energy efficient, don't you? Because an awful lot's changed in those years. So I'm sure that's going to form part of these works.
Oh, completely. Yeah, that's baked into the design. Will be baked in. Yeah. There'll be improved building energy performance in the new extension, and with all HU development, that's at its core, because we all have to look after the environment too, and have efficient running costs. So absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. It's all go. A series of real positive announcements, funding announcements for ATU, and as you mentioned there. This is also a fantastic development. Helen, thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, just before I go, Greg, too, if I could just say that we would not have achieved this grant without the support of our community partners and friends out there, friends of ATU, because it really is a community grant. So the sports facilities in ATU Donegal are open to the community as well. Be it in groups or organizations or individuals. All that information is on the website, the ATU Donegal website. But we would like to thank everyone who supported us for this grant. Their support was necessary in getting the grant. We went out and talked to people such as Donegal Sports Partnership, Basketball Ireland, Donegal LGFA, Cricket Ireland, local schools, St. Junans and Errigal College, Little Angels, National Learning Network. So thank you to all those supporters, because without them, we would not have realised the funding for this, in essence, community development on ATU Donegal.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Listen, thank you very much indeed. I appreciate that. That's Helen Kennedy there, Sports Centre Manager in ATU Donegal. Okay, it's time for a quick break. After that, we're going to be speaking to a special guest. Stay where you are.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Chanel, Flowerbomb, Lancôme, Giorgio Armani, Paco Rabanne. Where else but at McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny, this Christmas. Sponsors of today's 9 till Noon show.
Bridgend Bureau de Change is now open at Rafferty Circle K Station, Bridgend. For all your euros, sterling and dollars, contact Bridgend Bureau de Change at Circle K Bridgend. Planning cross-border shopping this Christmas? Call into Circle K Bridgend Bureau de Change for all your currency needs. Authorised and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
At Centra, we've got amazing Christmas simple savers from now until the big man arrives. Like Pringles 165 gram, 175 each. McVitie's Victoria 550 gram and Family Circle 400 gram biscuits, €4 each. And Villa Maria Sauvignon Blanc, only €10. Perfect for Christmas. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
Everyone loves going to the cinema. That's why an Eclipse Cinemas gift voucher is the perfect Christmas present. They aren't just for kids, but all the family. Even little Miss Hard to Buy For. We all have one of them. And when you buy an Eclipse Cinemas gift voucher, you now get 10% extra free. Available on our Bundoran and Lifford cinemas or at eclipsecinemas.com. Vouchers don't expire and can even be used for dine-in screen options and VIP cinema experiences.
There's nothing that says Christmas like the sound of bells. But there's one bell that stands out above all, that captures the true spirit of Christmas. Because that's the bell that says family and friends have arrived to share this special season. The best way to celebrate Christmas is with them, and the best way to connect with them is Bus Éireann. So this Christmas, let's get the bells ringing. Let Bus Éireann connect you to Christmas. Bus Éireann, proudly part of the Transport for Ireland network. To plan your Christmas connections, see buséireann.ie.
This Christmas, surprise your loved ones with fashion from Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park. Tommy Hilfiger, Adidas, Carhartt, Levi's, Farah and more. Open 7 days. Join our layaway club today.
Get into the Christmas spirit with the help of McElhenney's department store. From the moment you walk through the door, our staff are ready to help you find everything on your list with ease. From Secret Santa presents to thoughtful gifts for all the family. Shop online now or visit us in-store to experience the true magic of Christmas at McElhenney's.
Shekelatha ama Highland Radio. Arna Dortugat ag Airgrid. Uproar agus forbor an go letrahas na Héireann. Airgrid. Pobl a guachtu, era a guachtu. Heshe.
It's 13 minutes past 11 now, representing the bishops and people of Ireland, and on the invitation of Archbishop Laurent Ulrich, Archbishop of Paris, the Primate of All Ireland, Archbishop Eamon Martin, attended Mass and ceremonies of the Cathedral of Notre-Dame in Paris, and also there was Archbishop Eamon Martin of Armagh, and he joins us on the programme now. Archbishop Martin, thank you so much for your time today.
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to all your listeners in Highland. Great to be with you.
Isn't it remarkable what people can achieve when they put their mind to it? Because when we look back at the fire in 2019, one could never have imagined that 5 short years later, here we would be.
It really was an incredible feat to be able to accomplish something like this so quickly in 5 years. But it really took a mammoth effort of great artists, craftsmen, all sorts of skilled people to really bring their gifts, their energies, their talents to make this happen. And you're dead right, actually. I think all of us remember seeing those scenes of the fire in Notre-Dame. Many people from Ireland have been to Paris, and it's one of those iconic places that you visit. You like to be there to see a building which is 850 years old, which in itself is a marvel of human achievement. And whenever it fell that night and the whole roof collapsed in and the great spire fell in, I think there was a deep sadness, and you could see people in the streets kneeling down, people maybe of all faiths, people of no faith, just maybe, but realizing that something awful had happened, and the heroic work of the fire services and the emergency services to try to do their best to save whatever they could from Notre-Dame. So to see that all so beautiful again at the weekend was a real honour and a privilege for me to be there.
And we'll catch up on that in a moment, but talk to me about the significance of this church.
Well, first of all, it's the cathedral church for Paris. I suppose if you think of St. Eunan's Cathedral in Letterkenny, or St. Eugene's in Derry, or St. Patrick's here in Armagh. And for many people, it's really a symbol of their faith, a symbol of their love for God. And our cathedrals tend to be very ornate. We put the very best of all human endeavour into creating them. So this particular cathedral in Paris is dedicated to Our Lady, Notre-Dame, which means Our Lady. And in many ways, it's seen as the mother of Paris. And for many people, even those who don't practice their faith, they love to go there to spend time just in stillness and quiet. For people of faith, it brings them to God through Our Lady. And of course, for the people of Paris to see such a beautiful icon of great human endeavour to be destroyed was an awful thing. The Archbishop and the priests, they, of course, for them, it's the place they go for all of their masses. It's an ordinary church in that sense, that they have daily mass there, they have confessions, prayers, the sacraments. But I think for many people, it was something symbolic and something truly beautiful dedicated to God.
Yes, and I suppose... well, actually, I'll get to that question in a moment. What was your reaction to the job that had been done in restoring the cathedral? I'm sure you'd visited there in the past. Yeah. Did you get a sense that it was new, or how sensitively has it been restored? I'd be very interested in your observations in that regard.
Yeah, well, I think first of all, the brightness of it is the first thing that strikes you. I think anyone who's visited Notre-Dame, or indeed any very old cathedral, tends to see it as somewhere dark and in some way, aged, but what you do when you walk into Notre-Dame today is you see somewhere that is bright and new, and you have to realize that that's actually what it looked like whenever it was first opened nearly 9 centuries ago. And I can just imagine what the thought to walk inside Notre-Dame and to see the beauty of it. Today, what struck me was the brightness of the walls, of the pillars, and I wondered, have they painted these? But no, they've actually brought them down to their original colour, which is a kind of a buttery The French were very funny actually. One woman on TV, I heard her saying, "Trop blonde. It's too blonde. It's too bright." And there is an inclination as to think, that some are old shouldn't be like this. And yet, what I noticed, we were very lucky because the ceremony on Saturday night and on Sunday. Saturday night was at 7:30, Sunday at 10:30 for mass. And I was able to get in a few hours beforehand. They wanted us to be there in good time, which gave me a chance to walk around and just to savor the beauty of the statues, the stained glass, which is really gleaming again, to see the way they have restored everything. And they used old methods. That's the other thing. They actually were able to develop those skills that craftsmen have right across France and beyond. They brought in the very best of artists and craftspeople to work on it. And they used the old skills with wooden mallets they brought in to create the ceiling again, which is they had to use all these oak trees along with stone buttresses. It's an incredible work of art and work of beauty dedicated to God, the transcendent God.
And testament to just the skill of the artists and the craftspeople that you mentioned there as
Exactly.
well.
And I'd like to think that it has done a lot to rekindle those. If you think in Ireland, there are people in Ireland who have some amazing skills in woodwork, in stonework, in stained glass, but they don't often get a chance. We don't build new churches nowadays. We rarely get the resources to restore them. So a lot of those beautiful and wonderful skills are lost. I think this particular project has done a huge amount for the artistic world, and I hope that will last into the future.
Yeah, and as soon as you started mentioning that, too, my mind turned to thatching in our part of the world. It's just they're trying to encourage more people to do it. We don't want to lose these traditional skills on a smaller scale like a private house or a grand scale like restoring a church like this. So your feeling is that you got a sense as you walked in there, Archbishop Martin, that you were standing or walking in the footsteps of those 850 years ago. It was fully in keeping, but it was fresh and new, and the buttery walls were as they would have been 850 years ago.
Exactly. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe.
It really is.
You mentioned about the skills in Ireland, and as you were speaking there, I was thinking, for example, of the Book of Kells, our Celtic crosses, some of the amazing artwork that we had way back whenever Christianity began to flower in this country, and particularly, say, during the monastic period, where you had the illuminated manuscripts, the amazing Ardagh chalice, the Cross of Cong, some of these amazing works of religious art, which our ancestors were famous for. And those people, or the likes of those people, would have been working on the original Notre-Dame, and one might have thought they'll never be able to recreate that, but they have made such an amazing job.
To us mere mortals, 850 years seems like an awful long time, but I suppose in the balance of things, it perhaps is not quite as long. Also, it's an opportunity, I suppose, to refresh, rebuild, restore this building. You and others, of course, I presume, have used it as an opportunity to sort of maybe get a message out there about faith, about religion, about people's belief in God.
Of course, because I suppose there's a big difference in between Ireland and France in that it was the state which actually took the responsibility for restoring the church, because in France, those great church buildings are upheld by the state and looked after by the state, which is rather unusual because France has a policy of laïcité, where faith and religion are separate completely from the state. But the state recognizes that these are places for all people of goodwill to be able to inhabit, to visit, and to be present. From my point of view, of course, as a church leader, I also see it as a church, a place of prayer. And I really got that sense on Saturday night whenever the Archbishop, banged the door of the church 3 times with the crozier and opened the doors, and you felt you were opening the door into faith once more for the people there. And I really got a sense of prayer during the Mass on Sunday. So I think that Notre-Dame seeks to get that balance between a place where tourists visit to look at lovely artwork, but actually a place where people find stillness and where they feel themselves drawn to God. And I think our churches in Ireland, if you think some of the beautiful churches in Donegal, in Derry, in the Northwest, for example, which your listeners would be aware of, they are places where you can find solace and comfort and turn to God and spend time in quiet. Not just places to walk around and say gawk at the statues or the artwork, but you're drawn upwards. And I think that for us, a church building, even the spire points us beyond. It points us to the transcendent, is the way we put it, where we can touch the beauty and the grandeur of God through the very best of human artwork.
When you talk of, or when you prayed for the faith to grow stronger in Ireland, I know it might seem like an obvious answer, but what does that look like? What is a stronger faith in Ireland? How's it represented?
Well, one of the things that I felt when I walked into the doors of Notre-Dame in Paris at the weekend was a sense of hope. Here were people who, in the midst of what is a huge amount of anxiety, distress in the world these days, to have something to hold on to. And so many times when people are struggling, when people are finding it difficult to cope, when people are ill or their family members and there's relationship difficulties, or maybe when people are dying or have died, I hear people at home saying to me, if we didn't have our faith, what would we have in these situations? So for me, when I pray for the faith to grow stronger in Ireland, I'm really talking about, and I think you used the words, beginning in our own hearts. Because I'm not really talking about, the church becoming some kind of dominant force in Ireland again, because really, faith is about our personal relationship with the Lord. And I think that can be rekindled whenever we have a moment of mystery, a moment of great beauty, a moment where we touch the presence of God in our lives. And we all have that from time to time. And something like seeing the beauty of a church building or the joy of a celebration in church can just touch our lives to the transcendent again. So when I pray for the faith to grow stronger, I'm really talking about it growing inside your listeners' hearts today, that something might draw them to God and draw them back to a close relationship with Jesus in their lives.
Yes, for sure. I think we all need to sort of try and find a space to take a break from everything we're exposed to on a daily basis. Everywhere you look around the world, it seems there's more conflict, more anger, more division. And for some, and I'm sure you'd hope for most, religion is that, faith is that, but for others, they struggle to get a break from it all. It's very difficult. It's almost from
I think these days, Greg, Christmas time, Advent, these are times when we're rushing like mad around the whole commercial side of things. And that's lovely. It's a special time of the year for people to give gifts and to be good to themselves in some ways. But it's also a time of the year when it's wonderful to see groups like St. Vincent de Paul's Society and others who are reaching out to the marginalised, to the poor. It was an amazing sight actually on Saturday evening and Sunday to see some of the world's leaders, people like President-elect Trump and the president of Germany, the royal Prince William, all of these great world leaders, but also sitting in Notre-Dame were some of the poor, ordinary people of Paris. And the Archbishop had made a big effort to invite to the ceremony some of the people from the streets in Paris, so that there was a sense really of the great world leaders sitting beside. And when we're all inside Notre-Dame, we're all the same, whether you're Elon Musk, who was there, or whether you're some great world leader. At the same time, before God, we're all the same. We're all human beings with our faults and our good points, and we're all equal in God's sight.
Okay. Listen, it's been lovely to spend some time with you this morning. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Unless there's anything finally, Archbishop Martin, that you want to say?
Just, Greg, to wish you and all of your listeners in Highland a very happy and a joyful Christmas. And I hope that in the midst of these horrific times across the world, that people can experience some of the joy and the peace and the hope that this season brings. So God bless you all.
And we have to work towards that ourselves a little bit as well, I think. Okay, sure. Thank you so much for your time. That is Archbishop Eamon Martin, who is the Derrybone leader of the Catholic Church in Ireland, and he was in Paris representing the bishops and the people of Ireland at the invitation of Archbishop Laurent Ulrich, Archbishop of Paris, and they were there for the restoration of the wonderful cathedral. I've never been. I think it's remarkable that they've turned it around so quickly given the extent of work that had to be done. It was an accidental fire that began in 2019. That's when the fire happened in 2019. And here we are, 2024, and to an incredibly high standard, that building now has been restored. Back to some of the day-to-day issues here we've been dealing with. Quite a lot of you talking about private health insurance and some changes to Leia's arrangement with Ophidia, which means that people with Leia who wish to get like an MRI, and they were able to get them at Ophidia in Letterkenny in the past, now are being asked to travel to Sligo. That's a great inconvenience for some. A caller says, we in Donegal have the option to travel or die. Why should a 76-year-old with health insurance see a doctor before a 76-year-old with a medical card? We need to take a look at why people who do pay for medical insurance are treated before those with medical cards. Regarding Leia Health Insurance, all of this has happened since AXA took over Leia Health in the past year. I've been with them for over 30 years. It's very disappointing. We are the forgotten county. Everywhere else in the country has an option for Leia. Just listening about Leia Healthcare, says another listener, for those who are with them over a long period of time, they should not have had this changed. It is impossible to change companies, as you won't be covered if you have got an illness or condition since joining them. You would not be covered for those with anyone else. It's like they have you and they know you can't change, so will accept any changes in their conditions. Are they trying to get people to up their cover, or is it the company is not able to provide the service? I know quite a few in Donegal who are with the company. Well, they've said it. It's just they've, in an effort to, I don't have the press release to hand just at the moment. They're effectively saying they're reviewing how they do business. They try and offer a better service, and this is part of that process. That being said, for large swathes of people now, everyone with Leia, they can't avail of these services. And we heard too from Shannon earlier on, which was useful information, that under her policy, she's €200 towards MRI scans a year. So, hi Greg, VHI will not pay for DEXA scans carried out in Lifford Health Centre. These are follow-on scans from a hysterectomy in Letterkenny Hospital. It's not on their approved list. I would have to go to Galway or Dublin. That doesn't make any sense, says a listener. And another says, is it true that HSE don't own MRI machines in Donegal and Sligo, and they are all privately owned? I haven't a clue. I would be surprised. I'm not saying it's not the case, but I just simply don't know the answer to that question.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Hugo Boss, Victor and Rolf, Dior, Marc Jacobs, and Carolina Herrera. Where else but at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, where you'll find the biggest names in perfume and aftershave this Christmas. Sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
That magical time of year once more, with mince pies and pudding and treats galore, taking pride of place by the twinkling tree. All you need to know about the season's TV. A world of entertainment wrapped up inside. Christmas begins with the RTE Guide.
This is Donegal Callahan. Imagine something with me. Imagine your child was 7 months old and weighed just 6 pounds, the same as a newborn. For baby Sadala in Gaza, in the silence between the bombs, hunger is ravaging his tiny body. UNICEF is on the ground delivering life-saving food in Gaza and Lebanon, but we must reach more children. Please donate at unicef.ie and help save children's lives. Thank you.
Tesco Club Card gives you the power to more this season. Bring a little cheer to your days with Tesco Finest Mince Pies 6-pack, now 2 for €6. Or how about a little something for someone special with sets from Nivea, Dove and more, now half price. Or pick up a Heineken 10-can pack, now for the unbeatable price of €16.96. Helping feed your Christmas spirit. Shop in-store or online. Tesco. Every little helps. Subject to availability. Available in most stores. Prices vary in express stores. T's and C's apply. Deposit may apply. See tesco.ie. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware, with stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, or online at ormccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
180! On the Aki at Brian McCormick Sports, Unicorn and Winmau Darts Equipment. Check in store and online for details. Dartboards from only €30, including 2 sets of darts. Brighten up your board with some LED surround lighting. All set for the alley pally at Brian McCormick Sports. Select from our range of darts and accessories. bmcsports.ie for next day delivery.
Burglars are now doing their Christmas shopping. And guess what? They might just be calling with you. Install a wire-free burglar alarm from Sheridan Security Systems before December 31st and get 6 months round-the-clock monitoring free. Contact us today on 912-6025 for a free quotation. Have a peaceful Christmas with Sheridan Security.
So I mentioned a little earlier on the findings of a survey conducted by the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission about Christmas spending. We can dig a little bit deeper into those findings now with Grania Griffin, who's Director of Communications. Hi, Grania.
Hi there.
Good to have you on the show. Right, I suppose the headline finding, we're going to spend more this Christmas than we did last Christmas.
We are. It's looking like it's going to be a significantly more expensive Christmas for a lot of people. Now, when you average it out, it comes to about a 14% increase in expenditure, but that's bringing it up to just to over 1,100 to 1,177 is how much extra people think they're going to spend in December compared to any other month by the time they get their presents, the dinner, everything paid for and accounted for.
And the majority of us will either spend money we've put away or borrow.
Yeah, when we ask people, look, where are you going to find the money? Because it is quite a lot of money. And actually, for people who have children, it's substantially higher again. What people do say is that most people say, look, I'm going to dip into my savings. And for us, look, that's a sign of really good financial well-being. Like, that's what you want to see, people putting money away throughout the year and then using it for things like Christmas. But you do have 1 in 5 who say, look, I'm going to need to borrow. I'm going to need to borrow to pay for my expenses. And I suppose for those consumers, would be trying to encourage them to look at all their options in relation to borrowing so that they're not paying even more on their credit than they need to.
We have covered over the years on this programme around about this time of year where people were going to so-called loan sharks or, really high interest rate lenders. Some are official, some aren't. I'm not sure how prevalent they are in this country, but is that still an issue? Or are there sort of more affordable ways, more accessible ways for people to borrow money?
It's still an issue. Like, you do still see illegal money lenders, but you do also see, like, the whole way that we get credit and the way that we borrow money did shift over COVID. Like, you saw people maybe being more likely to use high-cost credit providers that are online, or move to things like buy now, pay later and things like that, which can seem very accessible and might even seem affordable, but actually can really add up in the long term because it becomes very complicated very quickly in terms of managing repayments. So I think the thing is, though, that even an awful lot of regulated providers, the credit's still very expensive. And I think, like, for example, the most striking example of that is probably like the amount you could spend when you borrow an amount on a credit card and pay it back over a few months compared to the amount of interest you'd pay if you got a basic personal loan off like a credit union or maybe a bank or other provider. Like the interest rates are quite staggeringly different. Like, we have a credit card comparison tool on our website on ccpc.ie, and if you go in, you'll see that the rates go up to nearly 23%. And even the lowest rates are still down close to kind of 15%. Whereas on a personal loan, if you go out, like, you could even get a welcome loan from a credit union potentially for less than 5%, and even like a standard personal loan, you're still going to be looking at well under 10% usually.
One thing I'm curious if it was caught in this survey, is this what we want to do? In other words, Grania, do we feel Christmas is a special time of the year and it's a good reason to dip into our savings? Or, we could have a more modest Christmas, but we think, you know what, I'm going to get a loan out and enjoy it and pay it off in the first 3 or 4 months of the year. Because, my default look at this was that people are under pressure and they're being forced into debt. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe this is what people do at Christmas and they're happy to borrow or dig into their savings. Did you get a sense of that?
Yeah, it's a real mix. It is a real mix. Like, we ask people, why are you going to pay more? And like, the biggest reason that comes through is this idea, well, look, actually things just cost more. Things are more expensive this year. And that's where you would really get that sense of that group you're talking about, where people are just being stretched that bit more, having to really feeling like things that they have to get are just more expensive. But you do also see, now it's less than half, but it is 45% of people mentioned, I want to make Christmas extra special this year, when we ask them why they're paying more. So there are people out there who have said, I have the money, this matters to me, I want to spend on Christmas. It's like, maybe it's an important time for them, or their family home, or whatever it might be. There is a mix, but certainly I would say 3/4 of people said things are more expensive, and that was going to drive the extra expenditure.
Yeah, it's great if you're on the good list and Santa's coming to your house. You don't have to worry about this. But for those of us who are buying presents for other people, there's great pressure. A lot of stuff's, if I'm buying my brother a present, for an example, Granny, it's high tech, it's top of the range, it's expensive stuff. A lot of pressure on me to get my brother just the present that he wants.
Yeah, and I think, look, buying presents for people can be very difficult. And what we see is that a lot of people maybe go for vouchers, or, in terms of something that's maybe a bit more flexible and people can get the right present for them. But one of the things that we were interested in was, like, just how well does that choice kind of really work out? Do people actually spend them, or do they lose them, or whatever? So we asked people about their experiences of vouchers. And look, it's really interesting. Like, obviously in certain cases, they've worked out well, they've been spent, people are delighted. But like 1 in 3 of us have gift cards or vouchers that we got last Christmas still sitting at home unspent. And then about over half of us have said we've had some sort of other negative experience with a voucher, like either it expired before we could use it, or we lost it, or, got gobbled up by charges, or the business closed down. So what I'd say is, if people are looking for that more flexible kind of option, where they want to give somebody the choice, vouchers can be great, but do consider all of those options.
Yeah,
and particularly if it's appropriate, like if it's appropriate for the relationship, sometimes cash can be a really welcome present. And actually, we know that younger people, for example, are more likely to say that they had a negative experience with vouchers, or they lost them, or something like that. So it can be worth thinking about, look, if there's other options there as well.
Bang a tenner in the Revolut. Or
I know,
something along those lines.
There's a lot to be said for cash. Yeah. Or look, if you are buying something and you're spending a lot of money on it, like a gift receipt, I know sometimes people can be a bit sensitive about if they want to put in a gift receipt or not. It means that the person is going to be able to go back if it doesn't suit them and exchange it. And ultimately that's what we all want, isn't it, when we're giving a Christmas present?
And I think
we want the person to get something that suits.
Yeah, for sure, Granny. And I think really what we have to try and do is also fast forward a little bit in our minds to January and February and March, where other bills might be coming in. Maybe one-off government payments aren't coming. We've relied on those a little bit, perhaps. And the credit card bills will start coming, and maybe we start burying our heads into the sand and so on and so forth. So I think, Christmas is fleeting too, and you have to consider, well, what does January and February and March and beyond look like as well?
Totally. I mean, we'd really say, like, just be kind to your future self. Just think of everything you will face in January and February, and the winter is still here, and just be kind and kind of look after yourself and give yourself as much leeway as your finances as you can. Don't give yourself a financial hangover that you're going to be carrying into the new year and then on beyond.
Gráinne Griffin, Director of Communications with CCPC, and there's loads of resources on the CCPC website as well. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Take care, Gráinne there. Of course, there's no thought in vouchers. Doesn't show any care. I wonder who sent that in. I've one idea who might have sent it in. But yeah, a lot of people feel that way. This caller says, I feel so torn. There's a piece in the news about buying local. I can't afford to not shop online. It's so depressing. I always loved Christmas shopping. Well, listen, give yourself a break. Enjoy your shopping. If you have to do it online, you have to do it online. When there's news stories that are put out like that there, it's only if you can. It's only if you can choose to do so. If your circumstances are such that you have to shop in a certain way, just do that. Don't get depressed about it. I know maybe what you're talking about, you're not able to go around the shops like you used to. Go around the shops and do your shopping online and go around the shops, and if you can pick something up, you can. If you can't, you can't. Don't give yourself such a hard time. Don't be depressed about it, certainly. I'm sure whomever is around you just wants you to be happy with them at Christmas, whether it's you're a mom or you're a dad or you're a partner or whatever. Don't put yourself under so much pressure. Life is tough. Shop where you can shop, buy what you can afford, and be happy. Be as happy as you can. Don't put yourself under so much pressure. It's not fair, and you shouldn't feel like that. Right, Mary Gallagher in Finview, Castle Finn, is today's daily winner. She correctly answered the fact that 4 ghosts, I've never watched this actually, to be honest with you. 4 ghosts show up in the Charles Dickens story. Well done to you, Mary. You have won 50 millilitres of Chanel Blue EDT spray. And best of all as well, you're also in with a 1 in 5 chance of winning that super €500 plus hamper from McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny, and you can check out their stuff on mcgees.ie. So you and Mary are in the draw. We've got 3 more slots to fill tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. But well done to you, Mary Gallagher, Finview, Castlefin, County Donegal. Rightio. I'll mention this one more time because I do have to take a break. We still have 10 chances to win big in our mega car draw today. It's day 2 of the €1,000 giveaway. The money's going to be given away on the Jive Time show with David James. The ticket will come out. You'll win £1,000. We'll try and give you a ring. We'd love to chat to you, but you don't have to answer the phone. You have won as soon as that ticket comes out of the Trombola. So lines will close for today's draw at 3 p.m. So if you want to be in all 11 draws going forward, is it 11? 10? Anyway, it says 10 here. Yes, it was 11, but now it's 10. So if you want to be in 10 draws, 9 for £1,000, 1 for a car, get your tickets before 3 o'clock today to be in today's draw as well. Okay, €15 for a ticket, but of course, like everything, only buy the ticket if you can afford it and have some fun. Lots of people do have that spare bit of money and they can get involved in things like this, but there's no pressure if you can't. And also, if you want to gift these tickets out, you can get 5 for $50, a tenner each, effectively. You can go on the website, highlandradio.com, buy them online, safe and secure. It's all equal. There's no advantage as to how you buy these tickets, by the way. It's just whatever suits you best. Or you can give us a call on 07491 25,000 and we'll process that through for you. Or call up here if you want to deal with cash. Cash is king for some, so there you go. All right, back with the weather.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, with all your perfume and aftershave presents this Christmas delivered to your door, or order online and collect in store. Visit mcgees.ie.
Donegal at night. It's vibrant, it's diverse, it's ours. Let's be safe and sound. Whether you're out for dinner, a show, a match, or just a stroll, we all play a part in creating a safe and enjoyable atmosphere. Let's look out for each other. Keep our streets clean. Have fun. Let's keep Donegal a place where everyone feels welcome and respected. Let's be safe and sound. This ad was brought to you by Donegal County Council and is an initiative of the Buncrannon Nighttime Economy.
At Hidden Hearing right now, get up to €2,000 off state-of-the-art hearing aids, even if you don't qualify for PRSI. Visit hiddenhearing.ie today. T's and C's apply.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybo.com. Start every day with confidence.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with their bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the Northwest, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Friday 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
If you're struggling for Christmas gift ideas, look no further than Watson Hire in Letterkenny. They've brilliant deals on tools, homeware, workwear and comfy boots to keep anyone warm on the job. Plus loads of stocking fillers and other gift ideas in store. Or have it delivered straight to your door at watsonhire.ie. Get a gift that matters at Watson Hire, Lisnanen, Letterkenny. Also open every Sunday until Christmas.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
So it'll be a cold and dry day today with a mix of cloud and sunny spells. Temperatures just 2 to 5 degrees in light to moderate northeast and variable winds. Now there is also a moderate weather warning for low temperatures for Donegal today. Very cold tonight with minimum temperatures of -3 degrees or lower. That's going to lead to a sharp to severe frost forming with icy stretches. And by the way, just to be clear, as we all know, just because a road is gritted, it doesn't mean that it is ice-free, by the way. It has a half-life, a time span, and depending on conditions, it can refreeze, so be extra careful. It's a yellow low-temperature ice warning for our area. Right, you might have heard us talk about men overcoming violence before. We're now going to speak to Tracy Halloran, who's the Northwest Coordinator. It's in the context of a rise in rehabilitation referrals for men violent in relationships. Tracy, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
Right, okay, so what's driving this this increase, do you believe? Is it awareness of move? Is it an increase in violence?
Well, I would say it would be the awareness thing would be the main one. We're really pushing for more referrals and we're doing a lot of community engagement work. But also it's the fact that we're having better relationships with probation and TUSLA and all the other referral agencies who are sending men to our programme. So there's a lot of different factors at play. And also the fact that people are more open about talking about these things, probably due to it started with the mental health wave where people were more open about talking about having mental health struggles. This is kind of going along that trend where people are talking more about domestic violence and domestic abuse.
Almost half of those that took part were self-referral, but it's a mixed story in that regard, isn't it?
Yeah. So 46% of our referrals are self-referrals, and that goes up and down a little bit, but it's generally around the 50% mark. And that's a really good sign because it shows that these men want to change themselves. Sometimes it might be their partner might be putting some pressure on them at home to do something about it. But they have gone online, filled out the form themselves, which is a really good sign. But it also has a negative slant to it because that means these men and these partners have not been engaging in any other service. So they're going unnoticed by TUSLA and by probation and by addiction services, things like that, because actually we released our stats in the Mansion House in Dublin yesterday, and we have some really good interesting stats that 50% of our referrals have drug or alcohol issues. So there's a real crossover there. But the fact that these men are referring themselves means that nobody else is doing it for them, which indicates to us that they're not being helped by any other agency.
So there needs to be more of a wraparound if the initiative is there. 178 didn't complete the full programme of the self-referrals, 36 did. I mean, is there an exit survey as to why maybe some of them thought, right, I've got enough here, I can move on, or others, there were other complications in their lives, or they went down a different path? I don't know. What do we know about the 178 self-referrals that didn't complete the full programme?
Yeah, so they do an exit survey, and they have a final review with their facilitators because it is a long programme. So it's 6 months, more or less. So there's lots of different reasons why people might not complete. So some of them may get a prison sentence, so that would cause some of the drop-off. Others, because it's such a big commitment, they may just fall off the programme due to work, travel. They can't get transport to the group. There's a lot of barriers that could be eased off if there was a cross with other agencies an effort where we all kind of link up, because say for people who have addictions, that can prevent them from continuing on the programme, because we need people to have dealt with that issue before they get onto the programme, so they're fully able to digest the information. Also, like we mentioned, the mental health issues that can arise during the programme, that could also be a reason why they drop off, because the content is very triggering, and we're talking about, there's a full module on parenting, for instance, which will bring up someone's own parenting style with their own children, and then how they were parented by their parents. So this can be a really traumatic thing to bring up, especially if they come from a dysfunctional household, which they often do.
How do we protect women in this situation, Tracy? Because these are, in all cases, but certainly with the self-referrals, are violent people with a history of domestic violence. And who's to say what triggers that violence? So how do we make sure that we aren't sending these people out of these courses with worst issues and capable of committing worst violence? Maybe if they're referred through TUSLA or some other agency, there's a track on them. But I'd be concerned that we're not in some way making even one woman's life more difficult by a person who, by their own admission, is violent and can have been guilty of domestic violence, but them exiting this course triggered even more so. Like, what protections are there for women?
Yeah, well, throughout the whole programme that we have with the men, so the Men Do the Group programme, we also have partner contact workers who work with the women one-to-one. So the partner and ex-partner will be engaging with that partner contact worker. And we actually have an excellent one in Letterkenny, based in Letterkenny, for the Donegal clients. So we are tracking that the whole way along while the man is on the programme, because we know, of course, the man can come into group and can say everything's great at home and I'm doing brilliant on the programme and I've changed a lot, and then his partner might tell the contact worker actually things are worse. So we have that data the whole way along, and we can bring that into group then. And then when it comes to finishing, we still link in with the partner for 3 months after the man has finished the programme. So we're constantly paying attention, and then it is better if the man has been referred to us through a referral agency, because then we have that support then of them, and we can team up to make sure the partner is looked after the programme. But yeah, we definitely keep an eye on that, and sometimes the man has to repeat the programme, and that's something that we allow definitely as well if it hasn't sunk in the first time.
Okay, so what's our takeaway, Tracy, finally and briefly then? Is it that this is a good, it's a tough program, but it's good, but there needs buy-in from more agencies, or what's the conclusion from, the MOVE perspective here?
Yeah, well, we definitely would be recommending to all of the agencies that refer to us that we have more of a cohesive engagement with them, so that we can come at this issue from all angles. So like, even if a man is referred to us and has a counsellor, we can link in with that counsellor and make sure we're all on the same page. So that is a really important factor. But we have had a 400% rise in calls in the last year. So it definitely is becoming something people are talking about more, which is a good thing, because otherwise it would have gone under the radar. So it's better that the problem is out in the open and that we're providing this service and linking with the other referral agencies. So yeah, I think that is the key. If we can all work together on the same issue, then and even in Donegal, we're actually doing that already. We're linking in with the Donegal Domestic Abuse Liaison Group, which is brilliant. It's a combination of people from TUSLA, from probation, from all different services in Donegal, and we all work together to try and combat this problem of domestic violence. So that's really the way forward for us all to work together.
Right, Tracy, listen, thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it. Tracy Halloran there. And if any of you have experience of either maybe yourself, and I know it might be difficult to talk about, going through the MOVE programme, or indeed maybe your partner did, and you want to share any insight or experience of that, please get in touch with us. You can contact me directly on my social media if you're more comfortable with that, or contact the station, which is completely private, 086 60 25,000 WhatsApp and text number, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. But that's where we leave it today. We're back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Thanks to the team of Donna Marie